Say my name. What's your name? H.O.I. Chicago. I'll see this one. I'm Ill Will, man. You can take the flight, kid. The flight. So now I'm on that trip where you. Oh, yeah. Take a picture right there. It says, and thou didst deliver us. And thou didst deliver us in the hands of lawless enemies. So remember what the brother was saying earlier? That cop right through the red light, trying to pull a trick like he's going to save somebody. Once he got to his left block, he turned off his light. Probably the shot. How you going to enforce the law and you breaking the law, bro? And you supposed to be the enforcer of the law. You're supposed to make sure everybody else keep the law, but you a hypocrite. You done ran through the red light. What up before I got here? I see the car run through the red. I said, this shit bullshit. Right. Let me do it. That nigga would have did a U-turn, jump out the damn car, jump in my car, and did a U-turn. Now you made a front man. Right? Oh, they don't keep no laws. Lawless enemies, most hateful forsakers of God. It says lawless enemies. So they don't keep no laws, and plus they are enemies. Nigga trying to sleep. You trying to go to sleep right now. You can't even rest. Pray for that brother, man. As you should. With your brothers. So pray. Don't want to hurt nobody, man. I don't have children, man. I got grandkids. I don't want to hurt nobody. That's a beautiful answer. I love y'all. Hold on, let's finish this. You got to go, man. I got to go to work. And to an unjust king in the most wicked in all the world. Remember you was talking about with the presidents? Word. Now they try to trick us and all of that stuff. Word. The president is also known as a king. And they said an unjust king. Look at Trump. The unjust king to me is the man that they genocide from this family, man, from the 70s, man. Look at Trump. They want the black family without the father. Right. Look at Trump. The president too. Look at Trump. Oh. Y'all, man. Hey. Hang this on my wall and take it up and shit. I'm doing following up the stuff, man. Give me one more, bro. Matthew chapter 5, verse number 6. Matthew chapter 5 and verse number 6. I'm talking that shit, bro. I don't mean to cuss or whatever. Check this out. We can bring up Matthew chapter 5 and verse number 6. Bring it out. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, and for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. What the answer you give, you say, yo, pray for me. Right, Blessed are the peacemakers. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. You're a spirit, man. You have a spirit of a peacemaker. You don't want to harm nobody. That's a blessing. That's what Christ said. Right? But same as Christ said that as well, you got to follow what Christ do as well, too. You have to do what you have to do. Right. And you got to do what Christ did. Christ kept the laws. Right. Yes, sir. Keep the law. Let me give you just one law. You eat pork? No, sir. Shrimp? Yes, sir. Shrimp? Let's get Leviticus 11 and verse 1. You're already keeping the law. You don't eat pork. That's a blessing. And you got to pay. Feels like better than mine. Hey, I try to keep it low, man, because I eat this pack. Hey, my lady, man. Hey. Let it grow, brother. Let it grow. Too much fire. You know what I'm talking about.
Jake Wallen. All right. Shalom. But getting the word, from the mighty brothers of HOI Chicago. You know what I'm saying? Bringing out the word of God on the streets. First and foremost, let me give all praise, all honor, all glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahushai. Yahweh be the name of his heavenly Father, of the heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai being the name is only begotten son who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Shalom, Kwom Yashala, Rise Israel. Double honors to the elders that paved the way, still putting in work, hitting the streets, waking up our peoples, telling them who they are, what they should be doing in these last days, all important things, you know. I'm your host for today, Kasadia, you know what I'm saying, HOI Philadelphia, and the lesson today is called Don't You Smoke Crack. Don't you smoke crack. Now listen, this comes from, you already know, Lean on Me, a very classic movie, you know, Morgan Freeman sitting on top of the roof with Sam's telling him, jump. Why don't you jump? You smoke crack, don't you? Don't you smoke crack? And Sam's like, I don't want to jump. Sam's in high school and Morgan Freeman telling him to jump off a roof. You know what I'm saying? But it's symbolic. He's like, look, you already killing yourself, so you might as well just jump off the roof. I'm glad Sam didn't jump off the roof. You know what I'm saying? That'd be hard to explain. You know what I mean? But that's it. I believe Patterson, New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. You know, but because you think about it, our neighborhoods were infiltrated, brought in tons of cocaine, tons of crack, right? Rick Ross can tell you that, the real Rick Ross, Denal Blandone, his plug, worked for the government. And the money he was getting was funding the Iran-Contra scandal, right? So, you know, it was government issued crack cocaine brought into the neighborhoods and just decimated our communities. You know what I'm saying? Well, fast forward 2025, you know, that was the 80s, 90s. It was guns and drugs and mass incarceration, the Joe Biden 3 strikes law. So what happened now? Now you got the president's closest advisor is a daggone junkie. You know what I'm saying? He's in the White House stealing secrets, talking about, you know, I need to get everybody's social security number real quick. I'm good for it, baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm in PayPal, man. I'm not gonna steal from you, baby. I'm the richest man in the world. He is on every type of drug you can ever imagine. The ones that he have, you know, admitted to: ketamine, Adderall, ecstasy. I mean, just a cocktail of pills on a daily basis, to the point now that his bladder's messed up. You know what I'm saying? It's messing up his bodily functions. And this is who the president relies on. So he says, the South Africans are getting killed, baby. We need to bring them over to the United States. And President Trump's like, well, yeah, I mean, you said it, so it must be true. They bring over the South African president. He's like, Mr. President, it's South Africa. Everybody's getting killed. Nobody's going to kill the white man. If we would, they would be already dead. Where is this picture at? And he's like, well, I seen it on X. Let me see all these markers. They're the dead white farmers. He's like, where is this at? Give me an address. You have no address. You get this off the internet. He got it from Elon Musk. Elon Musk probably woke up the next day like, what the hell was I talking about, man? Where am I? I don't know. Pop some more pills, do some more drugs. You know what I'm saying? Oh, it's unbelievable. All right. Kabar Shalom, Shalom.
Shalom, shalom, Yahba Shema Shabrakatah.
Washima Shabrakatah. They're all junkies, man. Falling apart. It's over. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about Elon Musk. We're gonna talk about Esau, setting up Esau, stealing a Bitcoin, torture, and more crack smoke. And you know what? Where are they getting this crack from? You know what I'm saying? You know, they got dealers, man. They got dealers. All right. Con. All right, so let's start with. Oh, before I even say that, Slovakia. Okay. Okay. Let's start with Exodus chapter 23 and verse 22. But first, I would like to say, Fair Use Act, Fair Use Act. This video is for educational purposes only, thus being protected by the Fair Use Act. Okay. Let's bring that out. Exodus chapter 23 and 22.
Gone. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 23, verse 22. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thine enemies and an adversary unto thine adversaries.
So we gotta listen to what the Most High says. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we gotta come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay. And when that happens, God's gonna fight our battles. You know what I'm talking about? Can you read verse 23?
Gone. For mine angel shall go before thee and bring thee unto the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites, the Hivites and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off.
All those heathen nations. All right, shalom, everybody on Clubhouse. We starting it off. Don't you smoke crack? Okay. Elon Musk, Junkie of the Year, richest man in the world, and he has a terrible drug habit. This is from the New York Times reporting. You know what I'm talking about? And when you actually look at him, you're like, yeah, that guy's on drugs. You know what I'm saying? But of course, Esau gets the benefit of the doubt because he's rich and, he makes satellites and stuff like that. And he's telling you in a second, I don't make satellites. I got smart people that work for me that make satellites. He doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah, he doesn't know how to make a car. You know what I mean? But through his apartheid funds, you know what I'm saying? You can make a lot of money when you oppress a whole nation of people, you know what I'm saying? Which would be the South Africans, the Hamites. When you oppress, a bunch of people, steal their land, you can make a lot of money. So that's what he does. And of course, he is on welfare. Okay. He smokes crack and he's on welfare. When you get a bunch of, when you get money from the government, they'll call it, for the corporations or something like that. They say corporate welfare. Damn it, welfare is welfare. This nigga's on welfare and he's smoking crack. And he is the closest advisor to the president of the United States. When you talk about Babylon is fallen, this is what you're talking about. There's junkies in the White House. You know what I'm saying? Scratching their neck, talking about, I was prom queen back in 1985. Yeah,
No.
your prom fiend. You know what I'm talking about? Man, they looking for stuff like, yo, what happened to the picture of Lincoln over there, man? He's putting it in the trunk of his Tesla. Like, man, I get a couple of dollars for this, baby. You know what I'm saying? Going down to Skid Row in DC, talking about, man, give me $30, man. You know I'm good for it. This is what's happening in America.
God.
They
turned the White House into the Carter.
To the Carter, right? Right, naked, making up dope. It's like, man. he said he blast off, man. Like, what he say? Like Star Trek or something like that. You know what I'm saying? He's going to the moon. To the moon, Alice. Oh man. Oh my goodness. Listen, man. I don't have to watch Dave Chappelle stand up or Chris Rock stand up. I just watch the news, man. This stuff's hilarious. And not only is this dude cracked out, but then he starts snapping on Trump. Trump fired him though. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, he left. No, no, no. Trump fired him. Like, look, bro, you gotta get yourself together, man. You know what I'm saying? They got rehab. You know what I mean? People don't even have to know. You gotta go. But he's like, I'm the richest man in the world. I ain't gotta do nothing. You know? Now, did they actually have that conversation? That's up in the air. That's up in the air. But what we do know is that he didn't want to leave, and he's saying like, yeah, this, it's about my time to go, and this, that, and the third. He's sitting there moving his mouth like, you know what I mean, all cracked out like, and staring at the ceiling like, look at the ceiling. It's got gold up there, man. Trump did that. Trump did that in the ceiling. Trump was like, nah, man, it's been like that. This is the Oval Office. It's been like that since Lincoln and them. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? That's why we gotta get you out of here, man. You're embarrassing me. Running around with chainsaws and this firing random people and then rehiring them the next day. Man, listen. Old boy's in bad shape, but the Most High said, look, you do what I do, they're gonna be my enemies, you know? And that's what we doing. We waking up, we coming back to these law, statutes, commandments, and Esau is falling apart. All right. So let's hold that. Okay, like I said, fair use act. Let's put this video on of Slovakia. Let's put this video of what Elon Musk is doing.
Trump world.
Okay. Yeah, so this is it's a blessing. You know what I mean? If you live through the crack era and understand how dramatic, how devastating it was in our neighborhoods, family members, addicted, aunties, uncles, you know what I mean? People you grew up with, your neighborhood and everything like that, it's a serious thing. You know what I'm saying? So to see it now being flipped on our enemies and the people that oppress us and hold themselves not guilty, you got to thank the Most High God. All right. So let's begin.
And that's Elon Musk speaking out from the Oval Office today with President Trump by his side. Musk is stepping away from his work in Washington to concentrate on his companies. This comes as a New York Times expose claims that Musk's drug use was more intense than anyone ever knew. President Trump paid tribute to first buddy Elon Musk today, as the world's richest man said farewell to the White House.
That's it. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Musk's exit from Trump world comes as a jaw-dropping New York Times report claims he was taking a powerful cocktail of drugs while he was on the campaign trail. The Times says it's unclear whether Musk was taking drugs when he became a fixture at the White House this year. According to the Times expose, Musk's erratic behavior, including waving a chainsaw around and that notorious Nazi-like stiff arm, can be attributed to a daily mix of ketamine, ecstasy, psychedelic mushrooms, and Adderall. They claim he travels with a daily medication box that holds 20 pills. He told people he was taking so much ketamine that it was affecting his bladder, a known effect of chronic use. Last year, Musk told journalist Don Lemon he used prescription ketamine to cope with depression, but denied abusing the drug.
If you use too much ketamine, you can't really get work done. So I have a lot of work. Repeated use of these substances, especially the cognitive deficits and the mood swings that can end up happening when somebody's using ketamine regularly, those mood disturbances that can make somebody edgier, can make them less functional, and therefore can make them act in ways that are not typical for them.
There is a New York Times report today that accuses you of blurring the line.
When a reporter tried to ask Musk about the Times report today, he hit back.
New York Times, is that the same publication that's got a Pulitzer Prize for false reporting on the Russiagate? That New York Times? Let's move on.
And what's with the shiner on his right eye? He got it roughhousing with Little X.
I said, go ahead, punch me in the face, and he did. Turns out even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually was.
That was X that did? X could do it. If you knew X.
I saw this bomber.
Meanwhile, Joe Biden spoke out today about his cancer diagnosis.
Good.
Have you decided on your treatment options?
Yeah, we have. Well, we're underway and everybody, all the folks are very optimistic. The expectation is we're gonna be able to beat this.
Yeah. Right. So, not only is Elon Muskie, you know what I'm saying, getting high in the Oval Office, you know what I mean, going into the bathroom, locking the doors and shooting up and doing whatever else he's doing in there. Joe Biden has stage 4 cancer, stage 4 prostate cancer. He was the what was it? 3 strikes you're out. You know what I'm saying? He's the 3 strikes you're out president. And he said this should be the Biden bill, the crime bill, the Biden bill. He said because he pushed it. You know what I'm saying? He said it was his bill. So you see, all he takes is a little bit of time, Israel. You know what I'm saying? Get all worked up and this guy's giving Nazi salutes. Man, he is on his way to rehab. Or if the Most High will allow it, he might not even make it. He might even find him in the back of a Tesla with a damn needle on his arm, man. You know what I'm saying? There's no guarantee that he just might just keep on going. You know what I mean? And you know, Esau, man, they get what they call white boy wasted. You know, it was one guy, right, that I knew when I was in school, Esau, right? Esau, I went to a party and Esau was there, right? And I'm like, yo, you all right? You know what I'm saying? And his friend was like, is he all right? He's feeling real good. He feels better than anybody in this party. He's drunk. He's on ecstasy. He did a couple lines of cocaine. He's on Adderall. Man, he did some heroin, man, like everything. I can't even think of all the drugs this dude named. Name like 30 drugs. And just sitting there like, what? He had no idea where he was at, man. That is called white boy wasted. So now you have Elon Musk, the president's closest advisor, top advisor, gets all his information from Musk. Musk is doing this, Musk is doing that. Musk is doing crack. All right. Ketamine, crack, opioids, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? That's the stuff he admitted to. He admitted to ketamine, Adderall, and like a couple other drugs. What else is he doing? Probably everything, you know? So Babylon is fallen. Babylon is fallen. Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 7. Oh, man. Made my day. You know what I'm talking about?
Con, this is the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30 verse 7. And the Lord thy God will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee.
Con, you know what I'm talking about? All the stuff that we go through, what they call us, welfare queens, crackheads, you know what I mean, junkies, they laughed, you know what I'm saying? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You know, as soon as the 80s, you know, Slocky, as soon as the Soviet Union collapsed, all of a sudden our neighborhoods get AK-47s. You ever think about that? How we get Russian AK-47s? As soon as the you know, the drugs and everything starts flowing in, we got Israeli-made Uzis. You ever think about that? How them dudes get them Uzis in here? Don't nobody got no boat, no plane to go to Israel and get some Uzis, or go to Russia, the former Soviet Union, to get machine guns? You know how? Because when the CIA was done with Russia, they said, we have a new target. It was you. It was your neighborhood. And the drug use that came from our neighborhoods fueled, financed a whole war, a whole takeover. You know what I mean? With the Iran-Contra. So now the Most High is getting them back. Their children is down if you from Philadelphia, I'm sure you've seen it online. It's called Kensington and Allegheny, K&A. You see what they call Zombie Land. That's all they kids down there. It'd be, scattered a few Jakes down there. For the most part, it's Esau. You know what I mean? Let me see if I can get this. Cause I was on the L the other day. You know what I'm talking about? I was riding on our train. Let me see if I can find it. And I saw Esau, and he wasn't doing too good. Esau was in bad shape. You know what? It might be difficult for me to find it, but you can imagine. No, matter of fact, let me see. Oh, there they are. Look at Esau. This is in Philadelphia, right? I said, "Damn, look at that. You're looking like a mess. Get yourself together." You know what I'm saying? Both of them just limp. They say it's a disease now, right? It's a disease. Oh my gosh. They need help. Sorry, Clubhouse, you can't see it. Just it's two Edomites on the train, right? And they ain't doing too good. And you don't know if they're alive or dead. You know what I'm saying? That's why they call it Zombie Land. Okay. But that's on them now. You did it to us, it's coming right back to you. Most High said we're gonna double that up. All right. By Shema Mashiach Yahushai. Let's read verse 8, Baba Kushar.
Done. Verse 8. And thou shalt return and obey the voice of the Lord, and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day.
Hey, you want to get them back? That's how you do it. Some brothers come up to the camp and like, nah, man, we gotta get these guns and we gotta do this and do that. Look, man, relax, bro. First off, where you gonna get your guns from? Who are you gonna buy your bullets from? And how long can you sustain a war? Russia and Ukraine been at war for years now. Can you go to war with somebody for more than a week? Yeah, think about things like that. You know what I mean? You might be hot-headed. I want to go out and do this and do that. Slow down. Follow the law, statutes, commandments. Obey the Sabbath. Obey the word, the voice of the Lord. Okay? And he'll take care of this. You know what I mean? It's light. It's light work, and it's just the beginning. It's only gonna get worse. All right. Let's check out what had happened in New York. They didn't really highlight this as they should. Let me pause this. They didn't highlight it as they should, but I thought it was, as soon as you hear about it, you're like, damn, Jake drawing, right? Simeon's in the way. It sounds like some Dominican, they some Dominican gang, right? No, this was Esau. He done tortured, kidnapped, tortured, and made people smoke crack. Made Esau smoke crack, not people, Esau. You understand? We're going to talk about this one. This one's crazy. All right, let's play.
The indictment of two cryptocurrency investors in the alleged kidnapping and torture of an Italian tourist here in New York City. It comes after a series of kidnappings in Europe targeting crypto magnates. Allie Bauman is here with the disturbing details. Allie, good morning.
Good morning, Dana. Prosecutors allege the two men tormented the victim with electric wires, forced him to smoke from a crack pipe, and even dangled him over the staircase of their Manhattan townhouse, all in an attempt to gain his Bitcoin password. William Duplessis appeared in a Manhattan courtroom Friday with bags under his eyes, indicted in a Bitcoin kidnapping scheme, along with John Waltz. Prosecutors allege the two men, both cryptocurrency investors in their 30s, lured an Italian millionaire to their ritzy Soho townhouse, where they held him captive and tortured him over 17 days. The suspects were arrested after the 28-year-old man managed to escape and flag down a traffic cop on the street. Inside the apartment, police say they found body armor, ammunition, and a photo of a gun held to the man's head.
To be tortured for 17 days in terms of a chainsaw cutting your leg, in terms of putting your feet in the water and electrocuting them, in terms of making a person ingest narcotics. Horrible crime.
Prosecutors say the suspects took the alleged victim's electronics and threatened to kill his family unless he gave up the password to his Bitcoin wallet worth millions. As the NYPD parsed through evidence in Soho this week, French police have arrested more than 20 people for a number of kidnapping plots targeting crypto tycoons, which includes the attempted abduction of an investor's daughter by masked men on a busy Paris street earlier this month.
I don't go to certain crypto meeting anymore where I had the habit to go before. I try to park as close as possible to the destination when I have to go somewhere.
The string of attacks, both abroad and now domestic, have some Bitcoin bigwigs worried for their safety.
Bitcoin's worth over $100,000, and people are still posting screenshots of their holdings, travel plans of where they're going to be. So it's really an attacker's dream, because they don't really need to do too much research out there to target these people that now have quite a lot of value in their crypto holdings. And so, unfortunately, these attacks are, again, becoming more gruesome, more brazen, and are increasing in likelihood and severity.
And the two New York suspects are being held without bail. We've also learned the NYPD is investigating two of its own detectives who worked private security at that Soho townhouse.
Oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. What's different about this and, say, a billionaire being targeted on the street for his debit card password? I mean, it just seems outrageous.
There is, some experts would say that there is the belief that Bitcoin crypto may be less secure and easier for people to steal, which isn't necessarily the case, but that idea may be fueling what some are calling essentially modern day bank robbers.
Yeah, that's perfectly stated in that. It's a modern day bank robber.
Unbelievable. Okay. What is going on? What is going on in the Edomite community at this point? They are kidnapping each other, torturing, doing drugs. It's disgusting, man. Disgusting. People acting like some naggers, man. Apparently these curses is looking good on Esau. I mean, look, smoking crack but in their ritzy townhouse, 8-room condo in Soho. It's a couple dollars, yo. And where did they get crack from? What did they just go outside and say, "Can I get some crack?" These guys obviously have a plug on crack. I don't know how to get the crack. Do people still sell crack? You know what I'm saying? It's the 80s, 90s, a long time ago. Esau's late. Ketamine for the tech giant, and crack for the Bitcoin guys. Came out in handcuffs in his nice little Ralph Lauren polo shirt. They gonna have fun with him in jail. Oh my goodness. They gonna have him on top of in a bullpen on the top of the toilet singing love songs. All praise to the Most High. So let's get into chariot news. Okay, so now we see Esau's cracking up. He's falling apart. All praise to the Most High. So we are getting contacted from a place totally, that out of this world, if you will. Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 14. And keep in mind, it's not normal. Now, you're going to see Esau say, "Well, this happens all the time." And then you're going to see somebody else say, this never happens. I don't know what he's talking about, right? But the reality is there is a signal coming from deep space hitting the Earth. And it's not like out there in, it's going all over the cosmos. It's going all over the Mars and Mercury and this, that, and third. No, it is directly pointed at Earth. Okay? So this is a sign to you and to me. Pay attention, man. Pay attention. All right, let's bring that out. Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 14.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10, verse 14. Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens is the Lord's thy God, the earth also, with all that therein is.
Con. So if you're thinking maybe, well, we don't know who it is. It could be the fallen angels of Satan. That's what it is. Like Esau said, like he knows something. It's the Nephilim. The Nephilim are coming back. It's the Anunnaki, man. Nah. Okay? This right here, there's a message to you and to me to get right or get left. Okay? And let's get 1 Kings 8 and 27 on deck, and let's watch this next video.
Astronomers have detected a mystery stellar object which emits pulses of light for 2 minutes every 44 minutes. A handful of objects like this have been found before, but this is the first to emit both radio waves and X-rays. Curtin University astronomer Dr. Tung Wang led the international team behind the investigation, and he joins us now. Tung, welcome. So can you tell us more about what you've found, what you've detected?
Hello, thanks, Rose. So we have discovered something that we don't quite understand. So it is a cosmic object that flashes in both radio waves and X-ray every 44 minutes. So it comes from our own galaxy at around a distance about 15,000 light years. So it's pretty far away, but still within our galaxy.
Okay, so this is the first object to emit both radio waves and X-rays, as you said. Why is that so unusual? And does that give you any clues as to what it might be?
Yeah, so even though there have been similar objects discovered before, but they only flashes in radio waves. So as you mentioned, this is the first time we saw this kind of object also flashes in X-rays.
Just like Jodie Foster's character in the movie Contact, scientists have come across a mysterious signal from a galaxy far, far away. In a study published on Wednesday, the journal Nature said that they've detected a very unusual radio burst. It has a pattern that's similar to a heartbeat. And for now, the exact location and cause of that burst is unknown. I want to bring in CNN's Tom Foreman to discuss. So, Tom, this strange and persistent radio signal seems like a pulsing heartbeat.
Scientists have discovered a star behaving like no other seen before, giving new clues about the origin of a class of mysterious objects. A team of astronomers combined data from NASA's Chandra X-ray Observatory and Square Kilometre Array Pathfinder radio telescope in Australia to study the antics of the discovered object, known as ASCAP J1832 for short. ASCAP J1832 belongs to a class of objects, so-called long-period radio transients, discovered in 2022. These vary in radio wave intensity in a regular way over tens of minutes. This combination of the 44-minute cycle in X-rays and radio waves, in addition to the months-long changes, is unlike anything astronomers have seen in the Milky Way galaxy. Scientists are now racing to figure out if ASCAP J1832 is representative of long-period radio transients, and whether its bizarre behavior helps unravel the origin of these objects. They have looked at several different possibilities involving neutron stars and white dwarfs, either in isolation or with companion stars. So far, nothing exactly matches up, but some ideas work better than others, and the search for the truth behind this mysterious object will continue.
So what further investigations are you carrying out then to find out exactly what it is?
So we are now still continuing to monitor this object with different telescopes, for example, the ASCAP, GMRT, and other telescope, and hopefully it will become bright again. And this time we are well prepared, so we should be able to get further information on what they are and how they produce these bright emission. We are also finding more similar objects. So the more we find, the better we will understand them.
So how hard was it to find then? And were you looking for something like this?
We actually like scan the radio sky regularly, and we just try to catch up something that is suddenly it turns on. So like if you see something that is stable and then just become bright again, or they just disappear for some time and appear again. So that is something what we are searching for. And it is not that there are not that many objects that is behaving like that, but we should be able to find, say, for example, one or two every few months.
A lot of us have seen the movie Contact. This is an extraterrestrial life, is it? I have to ask the questions, Tony.
Okay, real quick. Let's hold. Matter of fact, you can drop 1 Kings 8. Let's go to Isaiah 44. Every 44 minutes, let's go to Isaiah 44. See what the Most High God has to say. And let's go to verse 8. Bubba Shaw.
God. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 44, verse 8. Fear ye not, neither be afraid. Have not I told thee from that time, and have declared it? Ye are even my witnesses. Is there a God beside me? Yea, there is no God. I know not any.
I don't know any either. So if this is happening out there every 44 minutes and hitting the earth, that's not Allah. That's not Buddha. Krishna's not doing that. The fallen angels, man, the Anunnaki, man. Nah, see, how about Shema Mashiach Yahushua? All right, let's go to verse 21, Bubba Shaw.
Verse 21. Remember these, O Jacob and Israel, for thou art my servant. I have formed thee, thou art my servant. O Israel, thou shalt not be forgotten of me.
Letting us know, listen, I ain't forget you. I ain't forget y'all. Look, get right. Get right. Okay? Because this ain't gonna last forever. We ain't gonna be at the bottom forever. You know? You got Soho 8-room condo Bitcoin billionaire smoking crack. You got the president's top advisor so gone out of his mind with a chainsaw and just firing everybody and this, that, and the third, that his bladder's all messed up, man. He didn't forget us. Taking these dudes down and building us up. Can you read verse 22?
Verse 22. I have blotted out as a thick cloud thy transgressions, and as a cloud thy sins. Return unto me, for I have redeemed thee.
Come on back. Come on back, Israel. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Most I said, look, repent. I got you. You repent, I got you. And now you're going to have our back and, you know, giving our enemies hell. Go ahead.
Sing, O ye heavens.
What's it say?
Sing, O ye heavens.
Go ahead.
For the Lord have done it.
Who did it?
Yeah, the Lord have done it.
Now it's the Anunnaki.
The Lord have done it.
Go ahead.
Shout, ye lower parts of the earth. Break forth into singing, ye mountains, O forests, and every tree therein. For the Lord have redeemed Jacob and glorified himself in Israel.
Serious business, y'all. Give you chills, don't it? Can we finish out verse 24?
Thus saith the Lord, thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am the Lord that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself.
Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Let's finish this out. Let's listen to the rest of this.
Yeah, so like I believe it's very hard for for aliens to produce something like that, because like we catch the burst span of very wide frequency range, which is usually not the case for artificial signals. And this also means that you need to produce a lot of energy, which is much more than that of the sun. to like produce such a bright signal. So I don't think it will be aliens. I wish it could be, but it's very hard for aliens to produce such a signals.
Moab don't know what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? Angels, he's saying aliens and all that, but we know they're the angels. We know that the Most High has more power than, you know what I mean? He is power, you know what I mean? The epitome of power. So he don't need, he need more energy than the sun. Can't the Most High do that? Somebody's doing it. But Moab will never get it. We not, Moab just give the information. We don't need any spiritual enlightenment coming out of Moab. Eats centipedes and dolphins and stuff like that.
Oh, as a scientist, thank you so much for entertaining the question in the first place, Dr. Zitang.
What phenomena could cause this? And do we know of anything that causes similar effects in the universe?
We do. We know that this is about 1 billion light years away, or in scientific terms, really, really far. And they think what this is something called a fast radio burst, or an FRB. They know it's that. It's picked up by radio telescopes here on Earth. They were only discovered in 2007. Basically, what this is a little burst of energy coming through the cosmos out there. Normally, these are very, very short, milliseconds long. This one is unusual because it's very strong. It's very bright, as they say, and it lasted 3 seconds. That's an awful lot of information to look at, and they're looking at it very closely right now, Bianca. Now, you ask what it might be. The real question would be the source is most likely going to be something, a version of a dying star out there. As it passes away, those stars can give off these radio signals out there, a pulsar or a magnetar. Those give these signals off. But those are really important to know about, because if you know where they are, if you get one as strong as this and you can figure out where it is, if you can pinpoint it, you might be able to triangulate it and get a sense of how fast the universe is expanding. That's why they're so excited about this. It's not just a novelty. It's not just something from a movie, but something in real life they've never seen before. And with that repeated pattern in there, that little heartbeat sound, very exciting to the scientific community.
Hugely exciting, and to laymen such as myself.
Well, on this show over the years, we've kept you pretty consistently informed of any weird activity in the skies above us. Most shows don't do that. They're too embarrassed, but we're not. Why would we be? If alien life exists, it's far more likely we'll hear from it before we see it. Now, a telescope in Canada reports picking up a strange, powerful signal from far, far away. What is it exactly? Brett Larson has been looking into it for us, as morning anchor for Fox News Headline 24/7 on Sirius XM, and he joins us tonight with more. Hey, Brett.
Hey, Tucker. Yeah, this is definitely one of those what kind of stories. This is something called a fast radio burst. It was detected multiple times, and it has many scientists saying we need more data. So a couple things can be a fast radio burst. It could be a neutron star with a strong magnetic field, 2 neutron stars colliding, a black hole perhaps, and yes, could actually be an alien. The latest discovery comes almost by chance from something called CHIME. It's the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment. And get this, the system wasn't even completely set up when they discovered the bursts. Now, the fast radio bursts found are from a galaxy very, very far away, 1.5 billion light years to be exact. And it is just the second time that a repeat of a fast radio burst has been detected. And the object CHIME found produced actually 6 different bursts. ARS Technica reports that of the dozens of fast radio bursts identified, only one other has produced multiple bursts. And this is actually kind of significant. More and more scientists are looking into the skies with more precise instruments to find these signals. And they don't last for very long. This isn't something you're going to hear. This is like a fraction of a second. And it shows up on a graph. Now, some astronomers have considered the idea that these bursts could be from intelligent life elsewhere. And with more scientists searching for them, we will likely find out more about them and find more of them. I think it's alien. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I think it's alien.
All right, he's all spitting, you know what I'm talking about? But yeah, very intelligent and very powerful, and only hitting the Earth. That's something very important. You know what I'm saying? I say that the Earth is moving 700,000 million trillion miles every second, this, then, a third. Well, it seems in that time period that we say 2022, one person was talking about up until now, it has Earth right in its crosshairs. Very interesting. Something to think about. Okay, so that's the chariot news. Let's get into the plagues, prophecies. All right, what we got? Locusts. You know what I'm talking about? We've been on this channel. We've had rivers turn blood red, sinkholes galore. Very much, flies, a bunch of things, earthquakes, diverse places. Well, we got locusts. Let's get Exodus chapter 10 and verse 12. Bubba Kashaw, and we will see the locusts in Kentucky, which is very interesting because if you know anything about Kentucky, the past couple, I'll say past month or so, they've been getting pretty much whooped, you know what I'm talking about, with tornadoes, and then after tornado, the Most High brought floods. It's been rough. It's been a big much in Kentucky. Very racist. The bluegrass state, they got the what do you call it, the Kentucky Derby over there, and Kentucky Fried Chicken. You know what I mean? We're just gonna believe this Edomite came with this magnificent recipe for chicken. Now it's been, they got the GMO chickens and all that other stuff, but the seven spices or 8 spices, I don't know, 20 spices, whatever. But he made that allegedly made it in like a gas station. He worked in the gas station. He came up with the recipe. More than likely, he stole from Jake. That's just, if history tells us anything, that recipe was stolen. But Kentucky, it's got some sundown towns. You don't want to take a wrong turn. They might string you up. But when you got the Most High on your side, he'll take care of all that. All right, let's bring that out, King. Exodus 10 and 12.
This is Exodus chapter 10, verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that they may come up upon the land of Egypt and eat every herb of the land, even all that the hail hath left.
Everything that the hail left. So what just happened? They had hail. They had tornadoes. Man, listen. Play with God if you want. For me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord.
We're starting off here in Richmond, Kentucky. Video by Krang from yesterday, 6-2. Look at the front of this building. This is an eating establishment in Richmond, Kentucky that's basically crawling from corner to corner with locusts. Are you serious right now? You can't make this stuff up. And man, they are thick. I don't think I've ever seen them that thick on one building. It's almost as if the building is alive and crawling. Bizarre video footage out of Richmond, Kentucky.
All right, out of Richmond, Kentucky. Now let's get Luke chapter 21, staying in the same genre of plagues and prophecy. Let's get Luke 21 and 26.
This is the book of Luke chapter 21, verse 26. Men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken.
The powers of heaven, the rulerships going to be shaken. And literally there was shaking going on. All right, this is in Turkey, felt throughout the so-called Middle East, to the point where people were jumping out of their windows, scared to death. They rather fall from 2-3 story windows. I'm not sure how tall it was. He might say it in this, but they rather fall out the window than, I guess, to get crushed under the weight of the building. And people literally, we'll talk about it, died of a panic attack, which I consider something wrong with your heart. You know? Because, I mean, a panic attack is, and you did breathing, you're upset, da-da-da-da. but that heart might have just stopped ticking. You know what I mean? Let's continue.
About earthquakes, a 5.8 magnitude earthquake struck the Marmaris region of southwestern Turkey, leaving one teenager dead and dozens of others injured. The quake occurred around 2 a.m. local time, about 10 kilometers off the coast near Marmaris, and was felt across the region, including parts of Greece and even as far as Egypt.
So, yeah, Greece and Egypt felt that too. Now, at 2 a.m., this how you waking up with a 5.8 magnitude earthquake? That's enough to make your ticker stop ticking. You know what I mean? Let's continue.
Turkish Imperial Minister Ali Yerlikaya took to social media and said that 14-year-old died in the town of Fethiye after suffering a panic attack during the tremor. Around 70 people were injured, many while trying to flee buildings in fear. Some jumped from balconies or windows and rushed to escape. Fortunately, there have been no reports of serious structural damage in residential areas, though emergency services continue to monitor the situation. The region, which includes popular coastal towns like Marmaris, Bodrum, and Fethiye, is a major destination for both domestic and international tourists, and Turkish officials are urging calm while remaining on alert for possible aftershocks.
Yeah, it's not possible aftershocks. It's going to be aftershocks. Okay, so large earthquake in Turkey, people jumping out the windows, people's hearts failing them. Panic attack. Yeah. Heart ain't beating right now. So that is going on in the Middle East. Let's bring it back to the United States of America. This is international news because it deals with international players. All right. It happened in Boulder, Colorado. Boulder. What does it say about The Rock? You are my rock, right? Talks about The Rock. This happens in Boulder, Colorado. Let's get Psalm chapter 2 and verse 1. In fact, one second, before you bring that out. Psalm chapter 2, verse 1, Bubba Shaw.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 2, verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?
Why you mad, bro? What you upset for? What Esau do? Well, matter of fact, he's an Egyptian, right? But we all know, Egypt was conquered. So you got the Ishmael in there, Edomites in there, right? But for the sake of argument, they say he's Egyptian, all right? And he went up to a protest in Boulder, Colorado. Let's not forget about the Boulder part, right? He went to Boulder, Colorado, and he lit Amalek on fire. Yeah, they said he couldn't get a gun, right? Because he's from out of the country. So he just said, all right, I don't need no gun. I'll just light you on fire. He had a makeshift flamethrower. And he didn't run when the cops come. That, you know what I'm saying? Look, these heathens, Most High putting the spirit on these heathens to fight against each other. We didn't do it, Put the spirit on them to fight against each other. So he stood there when the cops came, like, yeah, I did it. And I'll tell you why I did it. Free Palestine. You know what I mean? If you remember, a couple weeks ago, same situation, Palestinian, or no, matter of fact, I don't think he was Palestinian. He was like 10 tribes or something like that. More likely he would be a Spaniard or something like that. I don't really know. But he was so-called Hispanic. He shot two Amalekites in Washington, D.C., in front of the Jewish Museum across the street from the FBI office. They're not safe anywhere, man. If you can't be safe outside the daggone FBI office, then damn it, you ain't safe nowhere. Okay? And we think about the boy Isaiah, right? Isaiah came up to the camp. This is just a scoffer, asking questions, not listening to the answer. But you notice why Isaiah, he ain't have his little hat on. Isaiah ain't have his tassels. Isaiah, how do we even know that you a Jewish person? You supposed to represent. They're scared, you know? And he came up to try to give the elder a hard time. Elder, boom, right back at him, destroyed him with the scriptures, put his tail between his legs and walked away. So they're scared. They got to go underground like Anne Frank and them. You know what I'm saying? Let's go to Deuteronomy 32 and verse 4. And I'm going to line up the video. When you got it, you can bring it out, Ken.
Done. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 4. He is the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are judgment. A God of truth and without iniquity, just and right is he.
He is the rock. Main man got the spirit on him in Boulder, Colorado. And what did it say? It said all his work are judgment. This is judgment. Ask the Amalekites. They got torched. All right, and let's get Isaiah since Isaiah wanted to come to the camp and start talking heavy. Let's get Isaiah 57 and 20 on deck, and we're gonna watch this video.
Is Mohammed Sabri Soliman, the 45-year-old Egyptian native, facing state and federal charges over what the FBI called a targeted act of terrorism. 12 people, one of them a Holocaust survivor, were injured, one seriously.
A Holocaust survivor. So you telling me you made it through Auschwitz? They put you in that oven, and then you came over to the United States to live your life? You know what I mean? You still got the little marking on the tattoo on your arm. You know, you try to protest. You're old because it's World War II time, but you know, you're still fighting for your people, man. And then all of a sudden you get lit on fire. Oh man. Oh my God. As my man Chia Mack, comedian out of Philadelphia, says, damn, that's gotta hurt.
In the attack in Boulder, Colorado.
There were 16 counts of attempted murder in the first degree. 8 of those counts are for attempted murder with intent and after deliberation. The other 8 counts are attempted murder with extreme indifference. So 16 counts total. If the defendant's convicted and those counts are running consecutive to one another, he would face a maximum of 384 years in state prison.
So he ain't never getting out. And think about it, like things happen to us all the time. They find us hanging from trees, our hands tied behind our backs, beat up, and they say, oh yeah, he committed suicide. You know what I mean? Other situations, you know, marching or whatever, please stop killing us, please don't do this to us, this, that, and the third. And then, you know, we get beat with poles by the Proud Boys and, you know, all these other racist groups, and there's no federal hate crime there. Now I know what you can say, man. That just grinds my gears. You know what I mean? It might make you upset, but it's gonna be so much of this going on where the heathens are gonna be fighting the heathens. You don't even got to worry about that. The Most High God got this on lock. He got this. He's in control. Okay, let's continue on with the story.
Still holding 2 bottles, still venting his anger. His victims lay injured on the ground nearby. They had been taking part in a weekly march in support of Israeli hostages in Gaza, when they came under attack from a man wielding petrol bombs and a makeshift flamethrower.
And they had like really bad burns all up on their legs. And then I went over to this other grass area that was like right by the front entrance. And there were some people, there was another lady on the ground with really bad burns on her legs, just like screaming.
Police say they found another 16 unlit Molotov cocktails nearby, and that the suspect had been planning the attack for a year. On top of the state charges, he's facing a federal hate crime charge. The Trump administration blamed President Biden's open door policy on immigration.
We know that this individual, this terrorist, was allowed into this country by the previous administration, was foolishly given a tourism visa, and then was illegally allowed to stay. These individuals are going to be deported, and we're not going to tolerate such violence in our country.
10 days ago, a shooting outside the Jewish Museum in Washington claimed the lives of 2 young diplomats. And in April, an arsonist targeted the residence of Pennsylvania's Jewish governor, Josh Shapiro. This latest violence will only add to the fears of America's Jewish community. David Blevins, Sky News in Washington.
Yes, yes, the fear. Fear is real, man. You know, Isaiah come up to the camp. He didn't have he couldn't even tell he was Jewish. Sitting there smoking is that a kosher cigar? Sharing it with Jake. He probably had Jake around for his protection. You know what I'm saying? But they might have been a little into each other, if you know what I'm saying, you know. But let's get this for Isaiah, you know, Isaiah chapter 57 verse 20.
The book of Isaiah chapter 57 verse 20. But the wicked are like the troubled sea when it cannot rest, whose waters cast up mire and dirt.
You can't, you know, you stuck, man. You don't know which way to go, left or right. You all over the place. You scared? You should be, because not for anything that we would do. It's what the Most High God is doing. He obviously has his eye on Amalek, and I don't think it's stopping anytime soon. Okay, so let's bring that out. Can we read verse 21 too?
Gone. There is no peace, saith my God, to the wicked.
No peace, no peace. Let's go to Psalm 21. Let's keep this going. Let's keep it going. You know, let's go to Psalm chapter 21. And there was a woman, I believe it was a woman, I don't know if they said it was a woman, I'm not sure. A Holocaust survivor. I mean, the things that this person has been through in their life to now get burned with a makeshift Molotov cocktail, a petro bomb, as they say over there in the UK. You know? Unbelievable, but believable. Let's bring that out. Psalm chapter 21, and let's go verse 8.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 21, verse 8. Thine hand shall find out all thine enemies. Thy right hand shall find out those that hate thee.
John, go ahead.
Thou shalt make them as a fiery oven.
What's it going to happen to them?
Thou shalt make them as a fiery oven.
Wow, is that like what happened in the Holocaust? In a fiery oven? And then now you're getting burned in Boulder, Colorado? Damn. What a life. Go ahead, King.
Thou shalt make them as a fiery oven in the time of thine anger. The Lord shall swallow them up in his wrath, and the fire shall devour them.
Man. Maybe Isaiah should stop talking ish, man. Maybe, you know, next time be a little bit more humble. You know, leave your car keys, leave the deed to your house. You know, kiss some boots and get ready for slavery, man. I don't know what else you want to do, but if you want to get burned by some random Egyptian, you know what I'm saying, that's not even supposed to be in the country anyway. That's funny. He's not supposed to be in the country anyway. He like overstayed his visa. So immediately ICE went to their house and went to deport his wife and his 5 children. And today a judge says you can't do that. You understand? What's going to happen is they're not getting deported. So everything that Trump is doing, there's judges that are saying, nope, can't do that. Nope, can't do that. Stop, can't do that either. So he's getting frustrated, and it's just hilarious. Speaking of Trump, we talked about how his closest advisor is a stone cold junkie, and now you know how people on drugs, they have bad mood swings, and they're like happy one minute, and then they're cursing the next minute, and then they're happy again. Well, Elon Musk ain't no different. And now he's giving Donald Trump hell for his big, beautiful bill, is what Donald Trump calls it. Elon Musk says it's an abomination. Elon Musk might be watching some Israelite videos. Let's go to Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 7. It's an abomination. Yeah, so it's all downhill. You know what I mean? It's all downhill. You know, you can't expect the dead cat bounce at this point. It's not going to happen. The economy's collapsing, it's sinking, tariffs kicking in. Still got tariffs. He's putting tariffs on steel now. So, of course, the stock market crashed again. Crypto's down again. Because every time he opens up his mouth, billions and trillions of dollars just fly out into the sky. All praises. Let's bring that out. Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 7.
Come on, this is the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee.
Salakia, his top advisor. He's at peace with you, but now the deception was there. If you go back into when he was in the Oval Office and he's saying like, yeah, he really did good, and we really appreciate the things that Elon did. Here's the key to the White House and stuff. Elon's like, I'm gonna tear this dude up the minute I get out this joint. He might write a tell-all book. He's sitting there staring at the sky. He's stoned, you know what I mean? He's high as a kite. But he like, you check his body language. He like, you know what? I'm at the ride on homeboy. You dig? Go ahead, King.
Gone. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him.
They don't even know what's going on. They don't even know what's happening right now. You dig? But let's Slocky, this ain't it. Let me fast forward this one to this one. All right. This is a little bit of time, but it's worth the watch.
Well, we have new reporting tonight that Elon Musk's last TV performance with Donald Trump on Friday in the Oval Office may have been less a farewell ceremony than it was the latest version of Donald Trump's You're Fired TV show. Elon Musk lashed out at Donald Trump today. And it may be because, as NBC News is reporting tonight, Musk had hoped to stay on in his special government employee capacity beyond the 130-day period, which the White House ultimately did not accommodate. And if true, then Elon Musk was effectively fired by Donald Trump, which could explain Elon Musk screaming at the top of his Twitter lungs this afternoon, I just can't stand it anymore. We have never had a more disturbed holder of the title richest person in the world than the person who holds that title tonight. And that person has apparently never been more disturbed than he is tonight. And Elon Musk has, over the years, publicly discussed suffering from depression and disturbances of various kinds for which he sought treatment that included carrying around a box of drugs during the last presidential campaign, according to reporting in the New York Times. Times also reported that Elon Musk used ketamine, Adderall, psychedelic mushrooms, and of course, ecstasy, which is not a legally prescribed drug. With that in mind, imagine the tension Elon Musk must have been feeling today
when at 1:31 p.m., he tweeted, quote, "I just can't stand it anymore." No previous richest person in the world has ever declared to the world, "I just can't stand it anymore." I'm speaking to you tonight from a building named after the once richest person in the world, John D. Rockefeller, whose riches were built on monopolizing the oil industry, but whose name now lives on in the Rockefeller Foundation, which for 112 years has been using Rockefeller wealth to do good in the world, something Elon Musk has chosen not to do. Elon Musk said today, "I just can't stand it anymore." He wasn't talking about the feeling of being responsible for killing at least tens of thousands of people, approaching hundreds of thousands of people in Africa and elsewhere in the world who are now starving to death because Elon Musk literally took their food away when he destroyed the United States Agency for International Development, the largest famine relief provider in the world. When Elon Musk said, "I just can't stand it anymore" today, he wasn't talking about the feeling he has thinking about the people from whom he personally took away AIDS treatment medication that kept them alive. It's a tortured statement. "I just can't stand it anymore." It's something that no previous richest person in the world has ever declared to the rest of the world. The Mali Empire's 14th century leader, Mansa Musa, then by far the richest person in the world, never said, "I just can't stand it anymore." But then he was never fired by Donald Trump. Bill Gates, formerly the richest person in the world, described Elon Musk as, quote, "the world's richest man killing the world's poorest children." But that's not what was torturing Elon Musk. That's not what was driving him crazy. "I just can't stand it anymore." He said that. He said that because of his disappointment in Donald Trump. Elon Musk lasted exactly one business day before he exploded with, "I just can't stand it anymore." Elon Musk was escorted out the door of the White House Friday before sunset. He stayed silent about all things Trump on the next business day, which was Monday yesterday, made it halfway through a 9-to-5 day today before he cracked on Tuesday and attacked Donald Trump with these words, "I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it anymore. This massive, outrageous, pork-filled congressional spending bill is a disgusting abomination. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it. Donald Trump told them to vote for it." That means Elon Musk is calling for shame on Donald Trump and saying to Donald Trump, "You know you did wrong. You know it." This was the moment that all the watchers of Elon Musk and Donald Trump have been waiting for since Elon Musk joined the Trump presidential campaign. How long could the two strangest rich people in the world stand each other? Elon Musk declared today on day 134 of the Trump presidency, "I just can't stand it anymore." And in response, the explosively rageful Donald Trump said nothing. And that is how you know who Donald Trump fears in this world. If you attack Donald Trump and Donald Trump says nothing, Donald Trump's silence is the biggest expression of fear that he has. Donald Trump fears not being able to get more money from the richest person in the world. Donald Trump fears the richest person in the world turning his money against Donald Trump's candidates in Republican primary elections. And Donald Trump fears the richest person in the world convincing Republican members of the Senate and the House not to vote for Donald Trump's budget bill that Elon Musk now calls a disgusting abomination. A disgusting abomination. Semantic infiltration was a term that I only heard from the Harvard professor turned United States Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan. He used it to describe a situation in which one side forces the other side to use its language to describe something. Rupert Murdoch did that with the title of his so-called cable news channel. It's not a news channel. It's a right-wing propaganda channel. But Rupert Murdoch called it Fox News. The second word of that title is a lie. But Rupert Murdoch, through semantic infiltration, knew he could force everyone to call his propaganda news through semantic infiltration, calling it Fox News, and it worked. And it usually does. There's another cable news network that claims to be objective in every way, that has been calling the Trump Republican budget bill routinely the big, beautiful bill. And that is successful. Trump semantic infiltration into that network to force them to use his words, to call the cruelest piece of legislation of the 21st century beautiful. The Democrats have countered, calling it a big, ugly bill, and now the Democrats have another choice. They can call it a disgusting abomination and be quoting Elon Musk every time they do it. And so the successful semantic infiltration of the words big and beautiful met in head-on collision with disgusting abomination today. And disgusting abomination is now the headline phrase of this news cycle about the Trump Republican budget bill. 4 minutes after tweeting, "I just can't stand it anymore," Elon Musk followed that up with, "It will massively increase the already gigantic budget deficit to $2.5 trillion and burden American citizens with crushingly unsustainable debt." That is exactly what Democrats have been saying since the day Donald Trump and Republicans started talking about their budget bill. And they said that every day that Donald Trump talked about doing exactly this during his presidential campaign, that they were going to dramatically increase the national debt. That's what the Republican agenda has been from the start. And only now does Elon Musk realize what Republicans have always done to the national debt. Republicans have always increased the national debt. That is the only thing they've ever done with the national debt. And Democratic administrations have always reduced the deficits that have been run up by reckless Republican presidents and Republican Congresses. That is the budgetary cycle we've been in since the 1980s. Republican presidents increase the deficits. Democratic presidents from Bill Clinton forward come into office and reduce the deficits created by the Republican presidents. And then when Republican presidents get another chance, they run up the deficits again, and they always do it exactly the same way, with massive tax cuts for the rich. The Republicans are going to massively increase the budget deficit and increase the national debt again. Elon Musk now knows that, apparently, and he spent 2 hours after that last tweet pondering his next tweet, or doing whatever he does when he's not tweeting.
Drugs.
Looking for stuff, maybe. Looking for boxes of stuff that he carries around. Or just looking at the ceiling absentmindedly like he did in the Oval Office last week, inexplicably, while the President of the United States was speaking and everyone else in the room was looking at the President and listening to him. Everyone except the pained Elon Musk, who already looked like he just couldn't stand it anymore. Elon Musk, who just couldn't bring himself to listen to Donald Trump, to look at him and listen to him while he was speaking. Perhaps because Elon Musk knew right then, when he was standing there, that he was getting fired. And today, after his 2-hour Twitter silence, Elon Musk said, "In November next year, we fire all politicians who betrayed the American people." That means Elon Musk wants to fire every single Republican member of the House of Representatives, except for 2 who voted for the disgusting abomination of the bill. 2 Republicans didn't vote for it. And that has to mean that Elon Musk wants to fire the man who apparently fired him on Friday. We fire all politicians who betrayed the American people, says Elon Musk. That's Elon Musk saying that Donald Trump betrayed the American people by pushing this bill that Elon Musk now calls a disgusting abomination. And so there it is. On the 134th day of the Trump presidency, Elon Musk wants to fire Donald Trump for betraying the American people, which is
beautiful. That's what it is. It's amazing. It's lovely. You know what I'm saying? The division. Oh,
God.
beautiful. You know? Remember this?
Shalom, shalom, ma.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom. Yahweh Shema Shabrakatah.
Shemina Shabbat. There's no honor among thieves. That's what it is. There's no honor among thieves. Satan be divided against Satan. How can he stand? What Trump is dealing with now is secrets that him and Trump talked about. Elon Musk got Twitter, man. Right? He's mad. He spent a lot of money campaigning for Trump. He basically brought Trump into the White House. Right? Through Twitter, he has a powerful form to control the media. So now Trump is fearing he released them secrets about what Donald Trump is really about. Because trust me, Elon Musk know exactly what Trump is about. And that's what Trump is going to be nervous about. Is he going to release the secrets major to the people and destroy his character? Because he can do it. And I'm pretty sure he knows all his secrets, right, that they talked about and what his real intentions is, which we already know because the Spirit showed you his intentions is what? A nationalist movement to get white people back on top and to destroy Jake. That's why the same way he pardoned Larry Hoover, but he really just pardoned the federal charges. He's still going to deal with state time. But he pardoned Larry Hoover, and you know what he did? He took $37 billion from minority loans, which we know. Now, I'm going to tell you real quick, and I'm going to wrap it up. The secret about that with minority loans is that we know that the white woman is really the most beneficial of minority loans and stuff, and Asians and the LGBT community. But they can do things and stop you by zip code. You see that? By your zip code, they know exactly where area you live. And they can stop you from getting loans that way. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of things these devils is doing, man.
Con. And then they fighting against each other. That is just, I'm loving it. Loving it, you know? And it don't seem like you said, you know, Trump ain't saying nothing back. He's scared. You know what I'm saying? He's scared. And it seems like Elon Musk has he picked a fight with the president of the United States. You know, he got his little South African friends into the country or whatever like that. He probably think he's big, you know, big stuff. But, you know, he had all that money, his head's blowing up. The rest of the video, Mike Johnson or whatever his name is, the head of the, you know, the House Speaker, he's like, oh, I talked to Elon 20 minutes and we're good friends. And, you know, I thought we understood each other. Apparently not, because right after that, he tweeted like, we got to get you out of here. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that voted with this, we're getting you out of this. And, you know, people jumping ship. Mayorji Taylor Greene, she says, oh, I voted for the bill, but I didn't read it. And I just seen this part in it about AI. So now I'm upset. We got to get this out of the Senate and everything because everybody's scared of Elon Musk. Everybody was scared of Trump because if Trump says, you know, you're a terrible person or whatever like that, then you're not going to get reelection. But now Elon Musk is trumping Trump, got Trump scared, and Mayorji Taylor Greene, you know, that butch looking thing, she's out of here. You know what I'm saying? Because she voted for it. So she's shook. She thinks she's gonna get, you know what I mean? Because he's gonna give a lot of money to their to the opponents running against them. It is a beautiful time to be alive, Israel. Breathe it in, take a deep breath, you know? This is what it is. Can you read verse 8 of Obadiah 1 verse 8?
On verse 8, shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and understanding out of the mount of Esau?
Where did he go? Which way did he go? It was all cool. It was all good just a week ago, right? And Jay-Z said that's all good a week ago. Now they fighting each other. Yes. All right. So Israel, we can't fight each other. You know what I'm saying? We got to allow this to play out. Let the Most High do his thing. But let's not battle each other and all this other stuff. We got to come together. It said the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. And the kingdom's up for taking. It's up for grabs. The Pope done checked. You know what I'm saying? The president and his closest junkie advisor are going to war with each other. The 2/3 of our people that been manipulating and going towards the dark side. Diddy, you know what I mean? They testified. Diddy said, "I'm the devil and I will kill your family." I believe he said that. You know what I'm saying? Diddy on some other types time. You know what I'm saying? So all those people that our people idolized and the celebrities that they idolize is crashing and burning. So it's time for Israel to take the kingdom. Stand up. Feel like you wearing a crown. Keep your head down and all this other stuff. You're a king.
God,
Zion.
God, Salakia King. The stars shall fall from heaven, King. The stars shall fall from heaven. Oh, like you say, all the ones that now listen, let me tell you something. How many people 5 years ago, if you asked them if they wanted to have Puff Daddy's life, they would have said, hell yeah. How many people would have did that? You see what I'm saying? That's why the scriptures say the beginning, the inheritance may be blessed but the end will not be blessed. Like, how many people would have traded for Puff Daddy's life, man? In a second. But now you see the end of this man. You know what they said? They said that they implicated, I think it was Sammy the Bull was saying, they put the RICO charge on him because what they can do is they can take everything you got now, the feds. They can leave you broke. So even if he come out there, they can snatch his $1 billion and he gonna have to start all over again. That's what the RICO charge can do, man. Crazy. But the man built himself on wickedness, right? The man was doing the sodomite life, all type of wickedness. So I did that to him.
Khan. Yes. Not a good idea to get on the bad side of God, because it ain't no win on that. Khan. So, okay. With that, let's continue on. Let's go further on to Esau's demise. This is called Esau's fall. This next clip, Esau's fall. Let's get 2 Maccabees chapter 3. I think you guys are gonna like this. You know what I mean? I could have led with this one as a top story, but I think you guys are gonna like this one. All right, let's take 2 Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 24.
This is the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 24. Now, as he was there present himself with his guard about the treasury, the Lord of spirits and the Prince of all power caused a great apparition, so that all that presumed to come in with him were astonished at the power of Yahweh and fainted and were sore afraid.
Khan. Okay, so let's watch this next video, and we're gonna read the rest of that throughout the video. But this is kind of heavy, man. You know what I'm saying? Now, what Esau has been doing, right? They call it CE3. This is what they say they're doing, right? Close contact, no, CE5. Close contact 5. So they can they're like, we call on the UFOs to come on down and to show themselves their love, and we need more love. on the planet, and that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna invite us to our galactic federation. That's what Esau believes. They're gonna invite us to the galactic federation, man. Right? So, what's the reality? The reality is, yeah, they might show up, but what do they do when they show up? We got the answer right here. Enjoy.
In 1983, author and researcher Brad Steiger spoke to a man named Bill Fogarty, who was originally from Phoenix, Arizona. He claimed that when he was a 20-year-old junior at the University of Indiana in South Bend, he and a group of his friends sighted a UFO one evening, and how that single event would change their lives forever. It was April 1972. Fogarty and his group of friends liked to gather once a week and discuss politics, philosophy, and other subjects that interested them. Typically, one would pick up each member of the group, and at the end of the evening, they would drop them off. It became part of their routine. On this particular evening, while driving back, one of the friends brought up the topic of UFOs. While discussing it, something extraordinary happened. A strange light passed over the car. Talking to author Brad Steiger, Fogarty was insistent that he and his friends weren't the type to drink or indulge in illicit substances. They were more brainy jock than wilding youths. A couple of them were older and even served stints in Southeast Asia. All 5 friends approached topics with an analytical mind. That said, on that night, each of them were certain that what they were seeing was an object in the sky that they could not identify as a conventional aircraft, an ordinary celestial manifestation, a weather balloon, a bird, or anything else known to them. 4 nights later, 2 of the 5 friends saw another UFO. Then, on the very next evening, Fogarty and the other 2 saw a brightly glowing object overhead as they returned at around 1 o'clock from a movie. Soon after, the 5 friends together had yet another sighting. This seemed to truly spark their interest. Before long, the friends opted to include sky watches in their weekly discussions, often joining under the cover of darkness in an open field in the woods not far from the university. While most evenings the friends saw nothing out of the ordinary, but the brief sightings they had left them wanting more. Occasionally, the objects would show up, seemingly dancing for the students. Eventually, the meetups became an almost nightly event. They were fascinated by the strange objects and couldn't get enough. We all witnessed UFOs cavorting in the midnight sky, Fogarty told Steiger. On one occasion, I stood within 10 feet of 2 nocturnal lights hovering silently in midair. During one of their nightly get-togethers, the 5 friends began to notice something odd. Hollow voices. They could all hear these voices, yet they had no idea where they were coming from. Gradually, things got even stranger. Odd knocking sounds, heavy breathing, and footsteps. Clearly something on 2 feet that seemed as if it were walking up on them, yet there was never anything there. Sometimes it sounded like there was more than one of these unseen entities. Fogarty told Steiger that even while all this weirdness was happening around them, the 5 friends remained relatively cool throughout, seemingly unbothered by any of it. Fogarty acknowledged that with all the activity and strange objects showing themselves to them, the 5 began to suspect that they were possibly picked for greatness by some higher power. Why else would they show themselves to them? We got to thinking that we had been chosen. for some special kind of interaction. Perhaps secretly, we were beginning to view ourselves as masters of two worlds. I mean, we were all Dean's List students, all athletic young men, normally balanced emotionally, mentally. I guess we felt that men such as ourselves could deal rationally with such phenomena and stay in control of the situation. Everything was going great for the five friends. And then it all changed. As the days of sky watching turned into weeks, things began to slowly sour for the five friends when one of them experienced something terrifying in his home. According to Fogarty, one of the friends contacted them in a panic. He told them that the previous night something had entered his family's home. It wasn't a person, but some kind of force, a poltergeist. It began with pounding on the walls. Then the bedpost began shaking, followed by the friend receiving a blow to the face.
Let's get verse 25. Public Shaw.
Done. It's the book of 2 Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 25. For there appeared unto them an horse with a terrible rider upon him, and adorned with a very fair covering. And he ran fiercely and smote at Heliodorus with his forefeet. And it seemed that he that sat upon the horse had complete harness of gold.
Go ahead.
Moreover, two other young men appeared before him, notable in strength, excellent in beauty, and comely in apparel, who stood by him on either side, and scourged him continually, and gave him many sore stripes.
God, his
And
behind.
Heliodorus fell suddenly unto the ground, and was compassed with great darkness. But they that were with him took him up and put him into a litter.
So, yeah, be careful what you ask for. You might get beat up. All right, let's continue on. It's all downhill from now on. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we're chosen. We're on the dean's list. We're white, so we're always right. Nah, man, you stepped on Gilmore's property. So this guy gets punched in the face. But like I said, it's only downhill from here on. Let's go.
His entire family experienced this violent manifestation. No surprise the friend was left deeply disturbed. All five friends began to muse aloud the possibility that the poltergeist activity was somehow connected to their frequent night watches. Soon all the friends began to notice that they were being followed by unmarked automobiles that seemed a bizarre mixture of styles and models. None of the friends had any idea why somebody would be interested in their activities, but it sure seemed like someone was. So they started having all these really strange experiences in their homes. They were, things were getting moved on their own. Doors were opening and closing. When they would check them, they would be locked. Things would go missing. They started seeing strange figures, shadowy figures in their peripheral vision. They'd see them walking in their hallways at night. They'd wake up and see these shadowy people in their rooms, and they'd just vanish. And then they were having these experiences with these strange cars following them around. It was just a lot of weird stuff happening, and it was happening to all of them. This poltergeist-like activity was manifesting in all their lives, and they were helpless to stop it. One of the friends even claimed he had been sleeping in bed one night. When he awoke the next morning, he was no longer in his house. Rather, he was in the middle of the forest, on the outskirts of the city. How he got there, he had no idea. As preposterous as that sounds, I'm sure that most of us accepted it as true, since we had all undergone some incredible experiences. We had all lost our sense of perspective. It was all becoming too much for the friends. Sensing that their sky watching might be the reason behind the sudden strangeness disrupting their lives, they began to ease and eventually broke off their meetups. Fogarty admits that he started to become paranoid and even slept with a weapon under his pillow. Another friend became involved with a group with radical beliefs and a penchant for stockpiling arms. One became a born-again Christian. The other two dropped out of college just months before they would have graduated with honors. It was all very strange in hindsight. There are researchers like John Keel who believe that all of these different things, all these different phenomena, like, UFOs and poltergeists and crop circles and Bigfoot, Loch Ness and Men in Black, they're all part of the same thing. It all comes from the same place. What that place is, nobody really knows. Curiously thinking back, Fogarty was convinced that the strange things that he and his friends encountered were of this world, not another. Further, he sensed that they were being tested, but was unsure why. I had the feeling that my friends and I were dealing with some kind of energy. At first, I thought it was something from outer space, some alien world, but I've thought out our experiences a great deal over the past 11 years, and I believe that we somehow activated some energy that is a part of this planet. I thought a lot about what all this meant. I think the five of us had entered a kind of game, a contest, a challenge, a testing experience. The trouble was we just didn't know all the rules. Modern society doesn't prepare us to play those kinds of games. Modern society doesn't tell its kids that there is another reality around them. Our educators have ignored the individual mystical experience and the other dimensions that can open up to those who enter altered states of consciousness, whether it be through drugs or through accidentally stumbling into the twilight zones. I saw this case as almost like a cautionary tale, and I have talked about this in the past where, the old saying where if you look into the abyss looks back at you. That I think is sometimes true. I think sometimes when you start messing around with these things, you don't really understand that sometimes they mess around with you. And this is one of those cases where, these guys just started getting really interested in ufology, and then they started having a number of anomalous experiences, and it wasn't just related to sighting UFOs, it was a whole bunch of other stuff, that it was all happened at the same time, and they could only conclude that it was all part of the same thing.
Yup, Esau got beat up, shadowy figures in their house, things being thrown across the room. He said Bull was about to graduate in months with honors, just dropped out of school. Somebody became a born-again Christian. He found religion. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it messed them all up. Be careful what you ask for. You know what I'm saying? You want to see something amazing. Well, something amazing wants to see you too. And bad things can most certainly happen. That's why, we call on the name of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. We want to have our hands as clean as possible. You know what I mean? Because even though that did happen to Esau, it can happen to us as well. You know what I mean? If we doing something we ain't got no business doing, the Most High God will pay us a visit, and it will be something you remember for the rest of your life. Okay? Let's get into weather. All right. Right now in America, we have Sierra Sands coming from the east, and we have a multitude of smoke coming from the north. And it's all diverging right now in the United States. So if you have asthma, any problems with your lungs, breathing, this is time to get your inhaler together. Get don't spend a whole lot of time outside because it's coming. All right, let's get Isaiah 51 and verse 6. You know, of course, this scripture we talk about the thermonuclear destruction coming to America, prophesied by a multitude of prophets, right? But the Most High seems to be giving us a you know, a little, I don't want to say test run, but you know what I'm saying? A little sneak peek on what it's like to have this land just covered in smoke. All right. Of course, with the Sierra Sands coming by way of Africa, right where the slave ships came, there's a 3,000-mile long um 3,000-mile long not wide, but long sand trail coming from the same way that the slave ships came over to America. And then once they leave, that's when you get the hurricanes. You know what I mean? Right now, it's not a lot of hurricane activity because you got the Sierra Sands. When the Sierra Sands are done, hurricane season has begun. Trump has taken out a bunch of the federal government as far as FEMA and the weather detection centers, and they got meteorologists like, yo, we're not gonna know when a hurricane comes. Like, we ain't got no equipment. So let's bring that out. Isaiah chapter 51, verse 6.
Isaiah chapter 51, verse 6. Lift up your eyes to the heavens and look upon the earth beneath. For the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment, and they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. But my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished.
Con. Let's also get Joel chapter 2 and verse 30. What you're going to see is a lot of crazy looking sunsets and sunrises and sunsets. The moon's going to look crazy. The moon's going to look like blood. You know what I mean? Normally it would just be for them Sierra Sands, or it'll just be from these crazy wildfires, things like 180 wildfires right now going on in California. It could turn the moon looking like blood, you know, and guess what? It's going to look like blood. Bring that out, King. Joel 2 and 30.
It's the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 30. And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood and fire and pillars of smoke.
But pillars of smoke. Go ahead.
The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood before the great and the terrible day of the Lord come.
So right now, Yellowstone is doing a little rumbling, which is not good if you don't want the Yellowstone to erupt, because it's a super volcano. Any little small amount of rumbling shows signs of a big explosion. Also, and I think Idaho, they have a bunch of Idaho has a bunch of earthquake rumbling over there, where they don't even have like significant fault lines. So thinking like the magma underneath it. Mount Etna exploded. I mean, not exploded. Mount Etna erupted. People was on the mountain running for their life, and you know what I'm saying, because they didn't expect it to, you know. And I think a volcano is currently erupting now in Hawaii. Now, you know how they say the sun, moon, and stars all connected. You know what I mean? Like like say a full moon happens, you're gonna have high tides, and you know, people act different. People act crazy. There's more babies born on full moons. It's just, you know, it's a connection. Same thing with the sun. So the sun has these sunspots, huge sunspots, dark spots. We talked about this last week. And it's causing protons and, you know, eruptions coming from the sun hitting the earth. And when that happens, you can get large earthquakes. And it seems like the magma under the earth is getting riled up. Very interesting stuff, right? Shalom, King. So let's go to Nahum chapter 2 and verse 13.
This is the book of Nahum, chapter 2, verse 13. Behold, I am against thee, saith the Lord of hosts, and I will burn her chariots in the smoke, and the sword shall devour thy young lions, and I will cut off thy prey from the earth, and the voice of thy messengers shall no more be heard.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say we're gonna have some more plane crashes, and it's gonna be people that ain't gonna make it. You know what I'm talking about? And it's been small plane crashes. It's gonna be some big plane crashes. All right, coming soon to a theater near you. The earth is the stage, right? The world is a stage. These planes gonna be falling out the sky. Let's continue on with the wrapped out section. I got a couple more sections. We got wrapped out and we got, health and wellness. We're going to wrap up in a little bit. Okay. So the wrapped out section, we talk about 2/3 that be drawn, right? Because we talk about Esau and we say, all y'all doing is talking about Esau. No. We get on our people as well. And when we talk about Eve, all y'all doing is talking about Eve. No. We talk about brothers as well. Okay. So everybody, it's an equal opportunity. Make sure our people get right. Nobody worrying about Esau and other nations. Make sure our people get right. Okay. So in the wrapped out section, it seems like Pride Month started off with a bang. Multiple bangs. Okay. And not that type of bang that they be talking about. They all on some freak stuff, man. Listen. Start off with that bang bang, that pew pew. All right, let's get Romans chapter 1 and verse 27. Because in Philadelphia has a gayborhood. Okay. There's a neighborhood in Philadelphia. It's called the Gayborhood. You walk down it, it has, I wouldn't recommend you walk down it, but if you walk down it, it has pride flags all over the place, 24/7, 365. You know what I'm saying? You get caught walking there and just think you're just gonna walk by. You be like, oh my goodness, the energy there is just totally off. Okay. And Philadelphia made the largest pride flag, try to steal the rainbow in the world, like Guinness Book of World Records. Like that's a big deal, real big accomplishment. What does God do? Take them off of here. You know what I'm talking about? Let's get that Romans 1 verse 27.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 27. And likewise, also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meet.
So and very proud, pride goes before destruction, but I guess they're not reading that part of the Bible. They don't believe in God or something. And Lady Gaga was born this way. Man, listen, it just started, right? So-called Pride Month. A lot of people are in mourning because people got taken off of here, right? So it's time to repent. Read that. Go ahead. Verse 28, please.
Verse 28. And even as they did not like to retain Yahweh in their knowledge, Yahweh gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient.
He's set up. You ain't following God, he set you up, right? You can't get right. You reprobate. You can't even get right. So, Salakia, my bad. I ain't even play the videos for the Sierra Sands and the wildfires. My bad. Let's watch these and then we'll go into the wrapped out section. I'm got ahead of myself.
Well, a massive plume of Saharan dust is covering the Caribbean right now and making its way toward the south of the U.S. Now, while this is, of course, bad for air quality, it does actually prevent major storms and hurricanes from developing. Let's bring in CBS News national reporter Karen Wall, live for us from Houston, which is expecting to see a major outbreak of this dust this week. Karen, how is this going to affect Texas and the rest of the country, for that matter?
Well, Elizabeth, as you're seeing the Houston skyline behind me, it doesn't look that bad right now, but experts are expecting the worst to come later on this week. They're talking about the 3 H's: heat, humidity, and haze. So we know Saharan dust from Africa typically moves across the Atlantic every summer. So while it's over the Caribbean right now, it is expected to reach Florida midweek, then move north by Friday, hitting Texas here, Louisiana, Georgia, and the Carolinas. Now, here in Houston, the latest report from the American Lung Association gives the area an F in air quality, which is some of the worst in the country. The bad air quality is mostly caused by the city's size and big petrochemical industry. We spoke to Dr. Sadir Al-Kindi, a cardiologist at Houston Methodist Hospital, about the health effects of air quality like this.
Pollution can worsen the risk of having heart disease and lung disease in general, and cancers. For each degree increase in temperature, we see a significant increase in heart attacks. We do see significant increase in strokes.
So as dust hits the south, other states are also being impacted by wildfire smoke from Canada. As of today, there are more than 100 fires burning, according to Canadian forest fire officials, which would affect parts of Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin. But let's also talk about the silver linings here. These Saharan dust particles add this layer to the atmosphere, which actually helps prevent tropical storms or hurricanes, which is especially important right now since we're in hurricane season through the end of November. These dust particles also help create some pretty beautiful sunrises and sunsets. So some pros and cons here.
There you go. Got to take the positive. All right, Karen. Thank you so much.
Welcome back at 6:13. Right now, massive wildfires are raging across Canada, forcing thousands to evacuate and sending large clouds of smoke toward many U.S. cities.
And this morning, Jen Sullivan shows us how the rest of the country is dealing with the impacts.
Nearly 200 wildfires are raging across central and western Canada, forcing thousands of people to evacuate.
The smoke was getting pretty heavy and we had to drive out.
On Friday, Canadian officials declared an extreme risk for wildfires for the Northwest Territories and Alberta to Ontario. That's the highest level on the country's fire risk scale.
Are we still going to have a place to stay when we go back in there?
The heavy smoke filling the skies. And now that haze pushing south, impacting air quality in major cities in the U.S.
States like Minnesota, North Dakota, Wisconsin, and Michigan, thanks to this cold front, it's pulling a lot of that smoke down into a lot of these areas and is likely going to stay there for the next several days.
The thick smog taking over Minneapolis, worrying residents who were enjoying the outdoors.
We probably won't run for a while.
This same situation happened 2 summers ago. This EarthCam time-lapse video from June of 2023 shows the New York City skyline disappearing in heavy smoke due to wildfires in Canada. The air quality then was considered hazardous.
It's this higher concentration that you're breathing kind of overwhelms your body and can lead to kind of the health issues that we expect from air pollution.
A recent health study out of New York's Mount Sinai Hospital found, quote, matter from wildfire smoke can have health effects up to 3 months afterwards, well beyond the couple of days that previous studies have identified. That's why health officials are telling people to check air quality levels and stay indoors if it's not safe. I'm Jen Sullivan reporting.
Okay, so there was a moment in that package where the sky was flickering different colors. Can you explain that color palette and why we see those different colors?
See that part?
Oh,
I'm thinking it was probably because it was a time lapse.
do we need a quiz? I mean, your mouth.
I think didn't know. Was it a time lapse video?
It was a time lapse video.
Okay, then I can explain what is going on there. Even through the wildfire smoke, we still have regular clouds. So the regular clouds are crossing over in front of the sun, and that's changing the tone of it. So
You did it. She still got it. She still got it.
I was like,
And
this
this is
had to have
why-
been a time lapse video
She's our weekend meteorologist.
because she doesn't pay attention. No, I like it here on the weekends. Don't plan to go anywhere.
And this is a good segue into the next video. See, Jake is flaming, you know what I'm saying? And God ain't with that. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 13. Just thinking these people are mean. Why would you say that? Love is love. You know, God made everybody, man, right? You're a bigot. But what does God say? Let's bring that out. Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 13.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 13. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them.
That's the word of God. Now, a couple things happened starting off this so-called Pride Week or month or whatever like that. Ironically, Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom both got judged. Let's start with the Northern Kingdom. This is an actor that played John Feathercorn or something like that on King of the Hill. Peppercorn, I don't know. We're about to find out. But let's see what happened to him.
King of the Hill voice actor murdered by his homophobic neighbor. This is a tragedy and a bizarre one. According to law enforcement officials, Jonathan Joss, the voice actor known for his character John Redcorn of King of the Hill, was killed in a shooting in San Antonio over the weekend. Now let's get to some of these details here. The suspect's name is Sigfredo Alvarez Ceja, age 56. He was taken into custody. He faces murder charges. The San Antonio Police Department says that's according to the San Antonio Express News. So what could have led to the death here? Well, officers responded to a call about a shooting around 7 p.m. on Sunday. Police found Joss, 59, who had been shot near the roadway and attempted life-saving measures until EMS arrived and pronounced him dead. Ceja, who was Joss's neighbor, initially fled the scene, but was caught by police 1 block away, the Express News reported. Investigation into what happened and Ceja's motive, that remains ongoing, according to police. Now, in a statement, though, posted to Joss's Facebook page, his husband, Tristan Kern de Gonzalez, said that they were checking the mail at the site of their former home when a man approached and started yelling violent, homophobic slurs at them, raised a gun, and opened fire. Jonathan's husband shared this statement. Jonathan and I had no weapons. We were not threatening anyone. The statement read, when the man fired, Jonathan pushed me out of the way. He saved my life. Joss, of course, was best known for his role as John Redcorn in King of the Hill. It aired from 1997 until 2009. He took over for the original Redcorn voice actor, Victor Aaron, in the show's second season after Aaron died in a car accident. Joss also played the recurring role of Chief Ken Hotate in NBC's Parks and Recreation. He appeared on screen in Ray Donovan, True Grit, and The Magnificent Seven. So as we said, enormous tragedy. The details on this one are alarming, let alone someone being shot dead outside a home they own or lived in. But the circumstances now being alleged and what will come of that in the investigation. Because here you have a husband who says his deceased saved his life, his love saved his life as a witness to what he says he heard moments before the shooting. And again, this was something that was going back and forth with these neighbors. I say back and forth, let me correct that. There was something going on between the neighbors, and it may have been one-sided. And from what we're hearing from the surviving spouse, on this fateful day it was. So that's a story we'll continue to follow. But again, Joss, gone and the murder investigation is on.
Police today identified the victim as 31-year-old Derwin Darnell Joseph
So this is Southern Kingdom.
Matthews Jr., a beloved member of the LGBTQ plus community. Friends tell me he was out celebrating Pride at the festival yesterday. You can see here Locust was shut down. They still have the fences here from the festival. The shooting, according to authorities, happened about half of a block up on Kamak Street.
I just saw Derwin yesterday leaving Boyer. We were out celebrating for Pride. And I woke up this morning to the news that he was killed last night.
A tragic end to the weekend Pride celebrations as friends and loved ones mourn Derwin Darnell Joseph Matthews Jr., a chef and beloved member of Philly's ballroom community, died after being shot in the stomach late last night.
Very heartbreaking. Our community is definitely in shock. Derwin was someone who was a protector. He was someone who loved on everybody, wanted to make sure that everybody was okay.
He loving on everybody? I don't know about that. So the thing about it, right? If you Clubhouse, you couldn't see it, but in the news report, you see them playing drums and people dancing and everything like that. But the footage of that parade that's going, I guess, I don't know, viral, but that's online, is them twerking on cars and just acting a fool. You know what I'm saying? And you got to understand, through the media is very crafty, because say if it was a Black Lives Matter protest, and I'm not, I got nothing to do with Black Lives Matter, the organization, but say it's a protest because a so-called black man or woman gets unjustly unalived by the police, then they show the worst of the protest. They don't show when people were peaceful and just walking and everything like that. So the media is very crafty in what they show and what they don't show. The same thing happened last year in Philadelphia. Same thing. The opening of so-called quote unquote Pride Month. It's 3 people got shot, and only if you're from Philadelphia and the location, you can say, oh, that's in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? If you watching from somewhere else outside the country or whatever, you're like, oh, that's unfortunate. 3 people got shot, but they shoot down there. You know what I'm saying? It's not all peaceful and happy. They was rumbling each other and pulling hair and, jumping each other, all crazy, looking a fool. So, but the media refuses to show that part, but they show the people smiling and playing the drums and this, that, and the third. So just pointing that out. Let's continue on.
He was a chef. He was a member of the House of Prodigy. Just an amazing overall, young man.
The shooting happened around 2:38 a.m., hours after thousands gathered in the neighborhood to celebrate and support the LGBTQ plus community. Officials say there was an argument outside area bars before gunshots were fired. Many who were out celebrating confused by the chaos.
I was walking with my friends. They kind of herded everybody out like cattle, just to kind of block off the perimeter. I'm sure they needed to pick up, DNA or something like that.
As police search for the shooter, loved ones are committed to finding justice for Derwin's death.
Our job is to make sure that if you've seen something, say something. Now is not the time to go silent. We refuse for Derwin to just be another hashtag and another murder that's just cold case.
Loved ones telling me they are devastated by this loss and will seek all of the appropriate resources to seek justice. In this case, police still looking to make an arrest. I'm Miguel Martinez Valle, NBC 10 News.
Hey, man, you know what I'm saying? The wages of sin is death. All that pride, that's dangerous. It might get the pew and be leaking out in the dark alley in the city of Philadelphia. Or you be checking your mail, checking the mail, and wherever he was in Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and then Esau come up with his pew and you know what I'm saying? That's the way it goes down. Repent and keep the commandments. Simple as that. Stop being proud with your pride. Okay? Now, let's 2 more. Let's get health. Health. This is the health section. All right. We're going to talk about green tea. Green tea, you know what I'm saying? It's good for you. What I recommend, well, don't worry about what I recommend. We'll talk about that later. Let's get Cyrac 38 and 4. All right. There's some things that are, we gotta look into. because of course we ain't into that you know, soda and everything, man. It's just not good for you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Judgment, all praises, right? Like that soda is, you know, you can clean your toilet with Coca-Cola. So what is that doing to your insides? You know, like I was talking about earlier, we gotta get ready to put these crowns on our heads. We gotta get our neck strong. You know what I'm saying? How you feeling? You know, you still holding on? You know, you're keeping these laws, statutes, commandments. Hey, look at these prophecies. I couldn't even talk about what happened in Russia. So much stuff going on. Russia bombers got destroyed by Ukraine, and Ukraine doesn't have the logistics to do these things. This is it took them like a year and a half for this operation, which they had trucks full of drones getting close enough to Russian airstrips, and they opened up the truck, and these drones came and blew up these strategic bombers. These $1 million planes were blown up by these drones. They're calling this the Russian Pearl Harbor. So we're going to see how Russia retaliates with this. Do you know what I'm saying? They could nuke one of these countries. They could nuke the West. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I say that to say, let's get ready for greatness. Let's get ready to be on top. You know, it's going to be some things that occur leading up to that. So let's make sure our body is at the best possible shape it can be before all these things occur. Okay, get ready to wear your crown. Go ahead, can you bring it out?
And this is the book of Sirach, chapter 38, verse 4. The Lord have created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them.
Yeah, man. I don't like tea. Tea nasty. Tea nasty. You know what's nasty? Diabetes. Diabetes is nasty. You know what's nasty? Stroke, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, gout. That stuff's nasty. Do you know what I'm saying? So you can jazz it up, you know, like you like green tea, you could put some honey in it, put a cinnamon stick in it. You know what I mean? You could put some lemon in it. You know, you could put all three of those in it. I wouldn't recommend sugar. You know what I'm saying? I was, you know, I was raised off of putting sugar in tea, but you could put honey in it. It's just as sweet. You know what I'm saying? But don't get it twisted. It's still like it's still on that level. You know what I mean? Too much of anything is not good for you. You know, and then once you drink some tea like that, have it at night, make sure you brush your teeth, because it's kind of like having sugar at night. You know what I mean? You're not brushing your teeth, you get cavities and stuff like that. But you know, let's look at all the benefits of it.
Hey guys, Dr. Berg here. In this video, we're going to talk about green tea. Now, the reason I haven't talked about green tea in the past is simply because one of the properties of green tea is to speed up the metabolism, and people were not changing their ways, not changing their diet, just consuming green tea, thinking that's going to melt off the fat. It wouldn't work. They would complain and the whole thing. So I really wanted to just kind of explain what green tea is. Green tea and black tea come from the same exact plant. Black tea is more oxidized, exposed to air, and fermented. Green tea is not. Green tea has a lot of what's called phytochemicals. Those are plant-based chemicals that give unique health properties that go beyond vitamins and minerals. Polyphenols, flavonoids, those are just like fancy terms for a series of plant-based chemicals that give a lot of different properties. For example, anti-cancer properties, anti-inflammatory properties, anti-radiation properties, supports the cardiovascular system, supports blood sugars, supports blood pressure, supports healthy cholesterol levels. But I think the biggest benefit that people like taking this is simply because they want to increase their weight loss, which it does that. But I think, and I'm not positive, but I think the reason why this helps weight loss is because it helps to support dysfunctional insulin. It helps insulin resistance. So it's just one more thing that we've been talking about in the past videos of how to fix that insulin problem. And this is a really good thing to do it. You can do it as a tea. They have decaffeinated, a little bit of caffeine. If you're not overdoing it, it's going to be okay. You can get it in tablet form without caffeine. So those are all possibilities. But if you want just something to kind of give you a little boost with the weight loss, this might be a good thing to take. And it's been around a long time. So Try it out and put your comments below.
Okay. Now, one thing I'll say, having green tea first thing in the morning before you eat anything, that's not a good idea. You can get nauseous. That happens to me. Like, I don't. You start off eating like an apple or something. Maybe have some water, have an apple or orange or whatever, and then have your green tea. Cool. But if you just start off, you know what I mean, first thing in the morning drinking green tea, you can get nauseous, and it'll like, and in your mind you're like, man, I don't want this stuff. This stuff is terrible. It makes me sick. I have no idea why that happens, but I would recommend, and maybe it doesn't happen to everybody, but it happens to me. I would recommend eating something first and then having a cup of green tea in the morning. You know what I mean? Get rid of that coffee, you know what I'm saying? Coffee, put all the sugar in there and the cream and this, then the third. Like, yeah, we love it, this, then the third, but it's not as healthy for us as something like green tea or yerba mate, which we talked about in the previous video. So the Most High created medicines. Don't import it. Anti-cancer, anti-this, anti-fungal, anti-all this stuff. You know what I mean? So it's good for your body. Anything that's good for your body, you know what I mean? And that's obviously of course clean. You know what I mean? Don't hate it. All right. Okay, so last one, the entertainment section. This the sister, right? Let's get Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 13. This sister, and honestly, she's not a bad rapper, okay? And before we even play anything that she says, she curses. So if kids in the room or whatever, you don't want to hear it, feel free to mute it. Like, it's not like she's saying anything positive, but she has a flow. You know what I mean? Like, and it's sad you got to say that because a lot of rappers, they're trash. You know what I'm saying? These new rap, terrible. You know what I mean? Drill rappers, and they don't rhyme, they don't stay on beat. It's just all over the place. With her, she has a flow, like Cardi B, but she's not talking about anything. You know what I'm saying? You can really talk about anything other than she just was like the so-called gangster, right? She's supposed to be a gangster. Cardi B is just a harlot, you know what I mean? But with this one, she came out, she got all these tattoos on her, this, then the third, and you know what I mean? Big Topic, right? That's the name, Big Topic, right? She talk, you see her rhyme, and she got a gun on her waist and everything like that. But then like 5 minutes later, she's crying because she signed a deal. She signed a deal that's terrible, and it's what, see who runs this the rap game, who runs this music industry. That's why you got King David making psalms, you know what I'm saying, to combat this evilness that's on the earth with the music that's being put out. Let's bring that out, King. Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 13.
This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 13. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Yahweh. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold, the workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou wast created.
So talking about Satan, right? Let's get to the next scripture, verse 14.
Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of Yahweh. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire.
The workmanship of thy terebs and thy pipes, let's get that in Genesis, the music. It says anointed cherub, right? He's at the Garden of Eden. He watched over the Garden of Eden. So with that, when Cain got kicked out, his descendants learned some things. One of them being music and weaponry. But let's get to the music. Let's go to Genesis chapter 4 and verse 21.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 4, verse 21. And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all, such as handle the harp and organ.
So if you're not putting out truth music, if you're not putting out music that uplifts you, how about Shimmy Awashai, then what we talking about? Do you know what I'm saying? You know, rap has like, check me out, I got this, I got that. Look at my chain, look at the diamonds, you know what I mean? But also, adultery. I can take your woman, you know what I mean? I'll shoot you in the face. It's a lot of evil stuff that comes out of rap. You know what I mean? So if you're not doing the truth music, what you doing? I'm not sure how much if she raps or anything, but if she does, you can mute it because she talks heavy, like cursing and this is all diabolical stuff. But
Khan, King.
Huh?
Shalaki, King, you right. When you
Khan.
look at the rap, King, you know what I mean? You remember Positive K? What your man got to do with me? That was all adultery, King. They promoted that big time. You know what I mean? And the scriptures tell you in James 4:4, this is the kingdom of adultery, right? It says if you're a friend of this world, you're an enemy of God, right? This world is nothing but adultery. So yeah, you're right. The rap lyrics, man. There's two things they promoting through rap. They promoting adultery and they promoting gangbanging. So they want your men, your young men locked up, and they want your women hoeing on the streets, man. That is their goal through the music.
Khan, absolutely. And you look at the people that own the corporations, it's all Esau. It's all Amalek, all Edomites. So they're like, you know what? I'm gonna change my life. You know what I'm saying? I was talking crazy, but now I'm gonna, big up my people. They're like, oh yeah, your album's not dropping nowhere. Yeah, I ain't going nowhere. I'll give you an example. Styles P made a song called is Kill That Bundle of Sticks, if you know what I'm saying, right? He wasn't talking about people that are actually bundle of sticks. He was talking about Jake, you know what I mean? And you can look at that on YouTube right now. You can type it in YouTube and you can watch it or listen to it. And he's talking about what he would do to Jake. If he was talking about what he would do to Pride Festival people, it would never see the light of day. If he was saying that against Amalek or Esau or whatever, you'll never see the light of day. It's a song with Menace to Society, MC8. He said, and a store owned by the effing Japs. It's supposed to say Japs. They mute that out. But in that song, he's talking about killing Jake and doing all Menace to Society type stuff, right? Boom, you go to NWA and say, I think it was Ice Cube. He said, you let a Jew break up my crew. But they mute the Jew part, But if you but Ice Cube says, the bigger the cap, you know what I'm saying, or whatever, they don't mute none of that stuff out. It's very crafty counsel with this music, and the people that say whether they roof you, they put your music on a shelf or promote it around the world and put you on Good Morning America, put you on the Source magazine, put you in Vibe magazine and all this other stuff, they the ones that make that decision. You know what I mean? Also, Styles P made a song called I'm Black. Whether I'm rich or poor or rich, dog, it's all the same. I'm black. You know what I mean? Like, it's a positive song. You know what I'm saying? I remember hearing that. I like this joint. Okay. Man, we don't hear too many positive rap music, right? Man, that joint didn't ever make it to Power 99, which is our music station up here. I don't know if it made it up to Hot 97 on the rotation. You had to be selling drugs, like the elder said, sleeping with somebody's wife. You know what I mean? And it's a damn shame, darn shame, you know. But here's this sister. She got big because she's rapping all these tattoos, talking about she shoots somebody, got a gun on her hip, and now in the next fast forward 2025, she crying because of the deal she got. Let's play that.
Please don't be over, bruh. I literally begged that man, bruh, on the Bible, man. I begged that man and his wife not to do me like this, bro. And they literally turned around less than 48 hours later and did me exactly how I wish that they didn't, bruh. And it's like if I don't speak up and I don't tell my story and I don't shine light on this, bro, it's gonna be people still signed to them that can't get out of these deals because people be scared to speak up. I'm getting DMs from fake investigators and people trying to call me and tell me that they know where I stay. I'm getting told that these people are part of a bloodline and I gotta be careful with the attorneys that I'm dealing with. Please don't be over, bruh. Please.
So, and the guy's his commentary, he just cursing a whole bunch. We ain't gonna play that. But she got the Joker tattoo, right? She got the pistol on her hip, talking about she gonna shoot this person, shoot that person. And what she do? She danced with the devil, and guess who came home? The devil. That's what happens. You know, she's begging this person and begging that person to don't give me this deal and everything like that. You already signed your name in blood. The way you was spewing out that hate and that violence towards your own people, because it wasn't towards Esau, wasn't toward any other nation, it's only towards your own people. Most High said, okay, I give you up to that. I give you up to that deal that you got like a 20 album deal. You know what I mean? The commentary was right. He's like, look, we're at a time where you can monetize your own music. You don't have to go sign with this person or sign with that person. If you hot and you get a buzz on the internet, you can sell your own stuff, make your own money, you know? But this is what happens, man. You know what I mean? If you dance with the devil, he will come home with you. And you can't get him out of your house. You know, hopefully the sister repents and comes back to the law, statutes, commandments. You know what I mean? Get less Joker tattoos and all tats all on her body. You know what I mean? And ends up being a righteous daughter of Zion. Time is short. Repent quick. Big topic, something like that. Yeah. All right, y'all. That is the lesson. The water for I know it's getting late, but appreciate y'all coming on. So we're gonna pray. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Ariah has a can you get that? Isaiah 28, verse 15.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 28, verse 15. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood have we hid ourselves. Isaiah 28 in verse 18. And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then ye shall be trodden down by it.
Look at that.
Hey,
go ahead,
Salakia, Shalom family.
Shalom.
That the sister name is Big. She's called the Big Big. She's a rapper. She's a drill rapper, right? And she talks about guns and killing and bringing the switches and knocking people blocks off and all of this stuff, chopping dudes' head off, stomping chick in their chest and all of that, right? They was going in on her comment section when she first made a music video right out in the middle of the street. It was with her. They had one with her. They had one with Sexy Red and Cardi B also Megan Thee Stallion. So these are like the new up and coming gangster drill rappers, female killers, and all of that. When I seen that video, I never would have thought she'll end up like that, man. She started breaking down, tears and crying, and all that gangsterness just went right out the window. Because, like I brought out with the scripture, she thought she was good living that lifestyle, professing death. But when she met the real devil, then she realized she wasn't no demon or nothing. She's really dealing with Satan. And the same exact thing happened to Sukiyana. And if you notice, it happened to Sukiyana 2 years ago. She had a video. She just started crying, breaking down. She's like, I didn't know I sold my soul. And she just started losing it. And she didn't realize how bad the deal was. It was a 360 deal. But also they threatened the sister and they told her, listen.
Ain't that the one that was looking for an Israelite man?
Yeah, that's her. Yep. Became a full-blown dot. After she made that video talking about she sold her soul, but she was really sincere. She was really crying. Like she knew what happened until it hit her. Same thing with this sister right here. They really have remorse. But what they didn't understand is that you made this deal with Amalek. And not just that, Amalek gonna show you some creepy stuff, satanic stuff. They started messing with Sukiyana, putting curses on her, spells and all of that stuff. Probably the same thing with this Big Topic chick. And then she tried to get a lawyer, she tried to get some help, and they told her, listen, you don't know who you dealing with. You dealing with a bloodline. What are they talking about? The 13 family bloodline, the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs, Amalek and the people that he deal with. So she already made that contract with them. You know? And now she's starting to find out. You're really dealing with Satan, the left-hand side. So, yeah.
The Water King. Excellent precept, excellent commentary. You know,
Shalom.
Khan.
Shalom. Shalom, everybody. Yahabashina Shabakatam. Yahabashina. Yeah. The same thing happened with Rihanna. Remember Rihanna made the song Umbrella?
Khan.
The umbrella meant that she was coming under the umbrella of the Illuminati. That's why her album was called Good Girl Gone Bad, because they was bringing her into the fold. That was her transition right there. So she was coming under the umbrella. Then her next single was Disturbia. Now, when you watch the video for Disturbia, she's like trapped in a. Go back and watch Umbrella and then watch Disturbia. When you watch Disturbia, and even with the lyrics, she's trapped. Now you made the deal, you came under the umbrella, and now you're trapped. But the only thing with Rihanna was they was taking like the young, pretty, innocent girl and turning her to the dark witch, to the dark side. So when y'all get a chance, go back. I think that brother Ringo back then, he used to break the videos down. And brother Symphony 1619, they like old heads that was on YouTube breaking the music video down in the Illuminati back then. But watch Umbrella, that's her initiation into the dark side. And then Disturbia is, I'm now trapped in the dark side and I can't get out because I already made the deal. So that's why, we got to stay with the Most High, man, because a lot of them, they young and simple and they just want that money and fame. And then they really realize what they're getting into. They was interviewing Special Ed on Drink Champs. And Special Ed was like, yo, the deals were horrible. He said the deals we were signing, we was just basically giving everything away to the devil. We was just giving ourselves our money, our soul, everything. We were just giving it to the record companies. So check that out. That's deep with Rihanna. She came under the seduction and got initiated into the dark side of the secret society. And now you're disturbed because now I'm trapped. What the hell did I just do? But I can't get out of it now. So I yield on that. Kwame Shala.
Kwame Shala.
Inshallah. Yeah, real quick. Just to Special Ed, check that video out with Special Ed because he said a whole lot of things in there, man. He said It's 50 years of hell because they was given the 50th anniversary. He said it's 50 years of hell, man. And then another thing he said that was deep. He said, like, what he did, like, he gave all his energy to a lot of these women. He's talking about through the music industry, how many women he was sleeping with. He said he wished he could take it back because he was just giving dead energy to these women. It was just, to really, he was saying, to deal with his lusts, just to satisfy his lusts. Yeah, he's a mad cat, man. Check out Special Ed's interview, man. He's really upset at what happened in the industry. So that shows you everything that shines is not gold, man. The Bible tells you real quick. Hey, King, real quick, just give me Revelations 3:17. I know y'all want to wrap it up, but give me Revelations 3:17 real quick. Right? This is for Puff Daddy. This is for everything. You thinking that music industry is so great. You want to see that lifestyle of fame. Biggie Smalls, all of them make birthdays was the worst days. Now we ship champagne, but you look how he turned out. You think it's all glamour with that, right? Read Revelations 3:17, King.
Revelation chapter 3, verse 17. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increased with goods.
Because they say they rich and increased with goods. Come on.
And have need of nothing.
Come on.
And knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked.
Right. Look at Puffy, man. Like I said, 5 years ago, everybody would have wanted Puffy's lifestyle. Do what you want, get up in the morning, and if you want to go to France, he can do it, no problem, private jet. You would have loved to have that lifestyle. But look at him. He was on drugs. He was all messed up. He was miserable, man. Miserable dude. That's why he did the things he do, man. So the prophet, the word of the Lord always reign when it says, what does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul, man? The words, they can't get away from them words, and I yield.
Con. The water for the precepts and the commentaries, the music industry has a hold on our people, because Special Ed at one point was saying, I got it made, you know what I'm saying? I'm the Army Brigade, you know what I mean? Yeah, he had everything, but in the background, he was getting robbed, and he probably knew at that time, something ain't right. A lot of the say state property. Oskino's very vocal about that, man. We're getting these little checks, you know what I'm saying? You got 5 people on stage or 6 people on stage, and you got to share checks. You're getting hundreds of dollars. You know what I'm saying? It costs more for a ticket to your show than what you getting to perform. You know what I'm saying? You get $1,700 for this tour or something. You know what I mean? Like just peanuts. So dudes come back and they're in the streets. They got to sell drugs. Not saying they got to sell drugs, but you know what I mean? Because now you got to keep up with appearances because you're this big rapper and you're gonna take your family out the hood and the whole neighborhood's going to come with you. And you come back from a tour with a couple $100 and then you owe money for the studio time and the clothes and that chain that they got you. You know what I mean? So you're constantly, pretty much being like a slave because you work for me and you owe me a lot of money. So now you gotta make this many albums. You gotta go on this tour. You gotta do this stuff because you signed your name on that contract. You know what I mean? And like Chris and Neef, the Young Guns up Nicetown, Neef was out selling drugs. I knew somebody that sold drugs on his block, you know what I mean, that I was cool with. And while everybody's thinking that state property's popping and they have all this money, he still has to hustle. When I say has, I mean, he doesn't have to do that. He can get a job at McDonald's or Walmart, whatever, you know what I mean, or do whatever that's legal to get money. But coming from that lifestyle, he's like, man, that's all I know. So let me go back and sell drugs and do whatever to get it. Because the girls are like, yo, come on, let's take me on a vacation. Let's do this. Let's do that. And he's like, man, I got $4 in the bank account. You know what I'm saying? Not saying Chris and Neef, but just rappers in general. They don't get a lot of money. And, I'm glad Special Ed would come out and say that you know, now, you know what I mean? And I wish more rappers would do that. And, you know, people can get like distribution.
Final stop will be New York Sensation, New York Penn.
Like distribution, you know what I'm saying? And we can get our own, you know, we you know, don't
Hey,
need
Salakia, Cassandra, real quick. Wasn't that rapper from Philly? What's the rapper, the two rappers that Philly that robbed the bank? Was it? And they got like life in prison?
Steady B and Cool C.
They was from Philly, right?
Con.
Well, yeah. Check that out.
Steady B.
Con. And they talked about that in like I saw a documentary not too long ago. They're talking about them. They like to dress nice, you know what I'm saying? Had the Adidas sweatsuit on and this, that, and the third. But when that, you know, you're not getting a whole bunch of money, but you talking about the glamorous life, and then they see you on the train, like, you know, where you at? You on the same train as me? What, you know what I mean? You supposed to live in a glamorous life. Then you have a Benz in the movie. I mean, in the video, and the fly girlies. You know what I mean? And the gold Dookie gold chain and all that. What happened to all that? So, you know, they went to
That was rented.
Con.
Yeah, Salakia. Didn't they kill a cop or something when they robbed that bank in Philly?
Con.
I think they killed the Eve cop.
Con.
Yeah, they killed the Eve cop. Yeah, that was crazy. That was wild when I heard that. And you know, back then we was bumping their music, so you thought they was making money. When you heard somebody you heard somebody on the radio or you see them on a music video, you thinking they getting paid. Like Heavy D when him and Salt and Pepper did that double video together, and they had a red Benz in there, and they had all this jewelry. They said they borrowed that from some drug dealers they knew. And when the video was over, they had to give that back. Heavy D said he was broke. They had no money until he became when he got a job at Motown. And that's because he was on a salary. But he said, as a rapper, I wasn't really making no money. And we know all the hits Eddie Murphy had. I mean, I'm not Eddie Murphy. I'm thinking about something else. We know all the hits that Heavy D had. You know what I'm saying? We know all the hits that he had. So it just go to show you, man.
Was it Uptown
all
Records or Motown? Was it Uptown Records?
No, he was on Uptown as an artist, but he got a job with Motown. They gave him an executive position. And he said that's when he started making a little money because he was on salary. He was getting a salary. He said all them records, they really wasn't rich like that. And we know you can put in a playlist of Heavy D. You know all the hits Heavy D had. So it just goes on and on and on and on and on.
Unbelievable. Ahmad says Prince was one of the only singers who figured out that the biz and got out of his contracts. We saw the ripoff. He even showed how Mariah Carey's contract was trash. So they all hurting. You know what I mean? For the most part, it seemed like they all hurting, you know, and people might be more vocal than others because the black community, you want to look nice, have some fresh sneakers, fresh clothes. You don't want nobody saying, "Oh man, he look like he doing bad. He hurting." You know what I mean? We try to keep up appearances, and that's a different type of scale from just being in the neighborhood to being on like the elder said, being on TV, being on the radio. They're like everybody assumes you rich, but there's an Edomite that's robbing them. You know what I'm saying? So Most High willing. I mean, this ain't our rest anyway. You know what I'm saying? But it'll be nice for us to be able to have our own, since it's our music, our genre, and stop giving it away to them. I know Irv Gotti tried to get like a distribution type thing going, and the feds came in and put him through the ringer of constantly going to court and lawyer fees and everything like that. By the time he was done, he was tapped out. So
Rocket King, yeah, it was Irv Gotti, it was Suge Knight, it was Jay Prince, it was Irv Gotti, Suge Knight, Jay Prince, They was trying to get together somebody else. I don't know if it was Damon that it was somebody else. And they tell the story. Jay-Z actually told behind him. And on the low, they had Big Meech behind them. But Big Meech was behind them because he was in the criminal world. So, but he had the money up to give them. And they was going to get a big distribution deal and take all the rappers under them. And they said, I think it was Jay-Z that spilled the beans. And then Irv Gotti got locked up. Or the feds came on him. Suge Knight got locked. Jay Prince. These was powerhouses that knew how to do it. And they locked them up. They messed them up. But yeah, and Prince told that story with Mariah Carey. That's a deep story. That's a deep story because she got $30 million, right? And I remember Prince I think he was on Arsenio Hall or one of them shows, and he was like, he told the audience, "You think that's a good deal? $30 million." And the audience was like, "Hell yeah, $30 million. That's a great deal. $30 million." And then he broke it down. But he says, but that's all she got up front. She's not gonna be able to have her masters for years and years. So basically, he was saying, once that $30 million is finished in our lifetime, that's all she got. The industry is going to eat off of her for the rest of their life. Their grandkids is going to make money off of her because they control the masters. So an example of that, you take a music like The Temptations, My Girl, right? You take that's being played on commercials. That's being played for like damn near 40 years. Who's eating off of that? The companies. Their grandkids constantly will eat off of that album. It'll be sold. You take a song like Benny King, Stand By Me. It's always selling, right? Christmas carols. Who's going to eat off of that? Their grandkids, because the parents probably died out, but their grandkids is going to eat off of these songs because they will always sell. Check out real quick. Check out the movie Straight Outta Compton. Me and Sabak did a breakdown on that. And check out what the cat said in there. He said, we made the M&Ms, the little M&M commercials. He said, you laugh at that, but we made millions off of that because it's constantly in rotation in the commercials. And we constantly getting money out off of it. So yeah, the industry robs our people, man.
That's interesting. Very, very interesting. You know what I mean? I know that with the M&Ms. But yeah, these people gotta pay, man. They gotta pay. And to go the start at the beginning, at the end, they smoke crack. They smoke crack, don't you? Elon Musk getting high, Soho millionaire Bitcoin investors, smoking crack, kidnapping people, torturing them. So the Most High is paying them back. Most High is paying them back. And just in case anybody wants to know, why? What did they do? Everything. You know, you can go through all aspects of this society and this system and see how they've been robbing so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Americans since we got here. You know what I mean? When it goes to eminent domain, taking your house, you know, taking your property, you know, they got a lot to pay for. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot to pay for. And I pray the Most High continues. I pray the Most High continues to destroy these people. All right? Okay. Dame Dash. Dame Dash. Okay. Kratazar says Dame Dash. Elder was Dame Dash. All right.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I believe he was in it, but I knew definitely Irv Gotti, Suge Knight, and Jay Prince, which is, you know, when it comes to the industry, those are super cats as far as knowing how to work that business. And I believe they said Big Meech was behind them, but like I said, he was putting up the money but he couldn't be shown because he was dealing with a criminal enterprise. So yeah, they was gonna make some power moves.
Con. Yeah, Jay-Z, man. They say, what did Prodigy say? Jay-Z and Jaz-O know Jay-Z chose to ride with the other side, though. You know, so remember everybody's kneeling and you know what I mean? About to boycott the NFL and Kaepernick, and Jay-Z makes a deal like we got this. We won. And then it's him just controlling the halftime show. You know what I'm saying? So we always had those type of people that will sell us out for peanuts. You know what I'm saying? And he's just one of them. You know what I mean? So, and anybody that America loves, that's a so-called black man, you gotta look at him different. Why? Why would an entity that evil love somebody like that? When I say love, use. And when they're done with him, they're gonna throw him away just like they did Diddy. All right. So let's all face the east. Want to stand prostrate. Make sure you like this video, share, comment on the YouTube channel, HOI News. We want to get this algorithm popping. So, if you're watching this right now, boom, just click the like. It's free. Comment to say shalom, something like that, and share it on your social media platforms. The water. But give you about a minute to I'm gonna stand and face the east, prostrate, and we'll pray.
Hey, Salakia King, quick thing. For tomorrow class, the brother Out of Sight gonna be teaching tomorrow. The name of the topic will be called The Importance of Truth Music.
Nice. Perfect. Perfect segue.
Let's keep this going.
Can't make that up. All praises. So make sure you tune in to Out of Sight tomorrow. And when you do, send that like up, share the video, comment on it. All right. We're gonna keep that in the fixture at HOI so we can get these algorithms popping. All right. So you want to stand, prostrate, and face the east? Be my guest, and we will close out. This is the Lord's Prayer in Paleo Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Ayah, Shemka, Yahweh, Malafaka, Daba'a, Ratazayaka, Ayah, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Ayah, Bashemayim, Natananawa, Lacham, Kau, Yawam, Wasalafnawa, Kabawafnawa, Kasalafnawa, Kabawafyanawa, Wala'a, Dabeanawa, Banasai 1, Abo, Hawashainawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwaf, Wa Allah, Wataparaf, Lai William, Amen. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 9. After this manner, therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Lord, Yahweh, Bashem, Mashiach, Yahushua, we come to you humble and shamefaced in these last days. Baba Kashar, continue to protect and watch over us. Give us knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Let us know the next move, what to do, how to move. Continue to vex and bring down our enemies, like Nazi salute Elon Musk, destroy his organs and liver, bladder, and heart through his unbelievable amount of drug use. Leave him wherever you find him. Baba Gashar. Have Esau not know his left from his right, his up from his down, and the other nations. Uplift those that aim to be righteous out of the 12 tribes of Israel. Protect and watch over them. Show us signs and wonders and dreams. Open our eyes to mysteries and dark sayings. And we will continue to exalt your name throughout the four corners of the earth, the water. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Ba'Shema Mashiach Yahushai. Amen. Kwom Yasha'ala Thawada. Kabal Ash for the mighty reading. Appreciate y'all, everybody that stayed on. And let's just keep going. You know what I mean? It's looking good. Most High is with us. We can see that. When everybody else sees that, you're gonna see an influx, and that fear is gonna come over their face, knowing that there's been a prophet among them. Kwom Yashala, we got next. Shalom.
Shalom.
Cool.
Shalom.
Clubhouse be wildin'. All right, everybody on Clubhouse.
Fuck y'all.
Shalom. Shalom, y'all. God. All praises.